Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Encounters, the UFO talk show, spiritual talk show. I'm your host, CmdrAleon, and this is really late night. It's on East Coast. It's 11:58, about an hour late from getting on here late night. Janelle, good evening. Jerry, user 338. Angus, let's see, Miss Stripe 7. Hey, Maria, good to see you. Lakita, Alexandra, see, Kurt booked something. Miguel. See, Sean, Sepp, Zags, everybody, hello, Caroline M. Good to see everybody here. Dread H, I think it is. I think Paul B003, is it? Jake, hey, thanks for the likes. Everybody coming in here. This is the show you've heard about, Karen 82. I'm CmdrAleon, and we got some good news to share. Hey, John Collins, good to have you with us. Hectic Loving, thanks for the share. Peace, love, and light, Marinate, always. You know it. Catherine, good evening. And we're just going to have a great show tonight. We start a little bit late, so we're going to go to about 1:15 in the morning on the East Coast, an hour and 15 minutes. Tonight, I would go longer, but an hour and 15 minutes. Hey, Jake, I just watched a SpaceX rocket go up. I saw a video of NASA showing billions of spaceships coming to Earth. Interesting. Andrew, good night, Commander. You're late tonight. We are late. Sometimes we end up being later than we want to be, but we are a little bit late tonight. But we're here. You know, the number one spiritual UFO talk show on social media. And actually, I got some news. I want to thank everybody for the last few days putting pressure on TikTok to get my friend John Connors back on. John Connors, I spoke to him today. TikTok is having him back on with full privileges as December 7th. So in less than a few more days, he will be back on live. We got some exciting things to share. And James Connors is going to be do a regular segment on the show. He's going to be part of the Encounters team. And we're really happy to make that happen. And he'll have a place where, you know, it'll be great for that segment to be heard. There's so many things we'll be doing. And then Friday nights, we're going to be, you know, and again, we don't control contact with, and also he got me the name of the space being. I've been pronouncing the name wrong. It's not with a G. It's Heideka. It's Heideka. I'll have to spell it for everybody. I will. I'll have to write it down, and tomorrow night I'll actually pronounce it and spell it for you. But the actual name of the space being is called Heideka. And Heideka and the rest of the beings from the Sirius constellation are light beings. These are light beings. And if you know what the term light being means, they are light beings. And yes, so I'm going to give you, again, the pronunciation that I thought it was wrong. I kept thinking I got the space being's name wrong from the get-go. And it's called Heideka. Heideka. And I'll spell it for you tomorrow night. Yes, Heideka, Heidika. You're right. That's actually probably right. If I can remember visually in my head, the vision in my head, what I saw in the imprint from John Connors he gave me when I was talking to him. He sent me a message about it. Maria says, I can't have kind of, well, you'll eventually, if you see lights and ships, you'll have contact. You just have to meditate and focus on who they are and ask who they are and where they're from. So John Connors and I will be together on live. I'm setting a date for the next contact event. Like I said, he's the transmitter, I'm the receiver. And I've told him, Heideka had asked him if they still wanted us to contact us. And I told them to just let them know, yes, they weren't sure, you know, where we were in terms of the way we felt. And I said, yeah, of course we do. I said, you know, we don't want to break off any contact. And and nor does he. John and I are committed to the relationship with Heideka, which is the actual name of the being, and the people from his planetary system in the constellation Sirius. So we're very excited. I want to thank everybody who sent messages to TikTok. I'm sure they heard the messages and the complaints of them taking them off when they allow on TikTok all these sexual ads to press a button and go to some woman on some page or something. That's okay. But then when they were doing this to him for nothing, he gets taken off for no reason, So I think they got the message. So I thank everybody for, putting pressure on TikTok to get John Connors back on here. December 7th, he will be back live with full privileges. So thank you, everybody. Much love and light to everybody for doing that. And really, much love and light to everybody. I'm CmdrAleon. I'm not sure where we're going tonight, but yeah, sometimes it can be a mess. And sometimes we have to reach human beings at TikTok to say their computer's all screwed up. Medbed Spog, welcome, Spanky 909, everybody coming in. Welcome to the show. And I was thinking about all the things with frequency. Also, the other thing is, I'm going to give you some information. I was at our crystal shop today. We have a really cool crystal shop on a ley line. This ley line is really important. And what we're going to be doing, hey, Margaret, and Cat Mama, Jeff, Margaret Rushing, Paula. So what we're going to be doing is we're planning to do what we've been talking about very soon. It's almost ready to be done. What we're going to do is blow people's minds on TikTok and all over the world, I think. What we're going to do soon, and John has almost got it ready. Almost got it ready. It has to be, he'll know what to do. It'll be exactly precise. Once it is ready to be turned on, as I say, I'll use the word turned on in some cases, John Connors will come through a opening, like a Stargate, not a Stargate that's going to take him into another planet. He will be coming through an opening, and he will meet me here where I am and just walk through Arizona right here at my location. And we're going to do it in a crystal shop in my town. That's very, very, it has a beautiful energy. I've already chosen the space in the crystal shop. I even told the owner, one of the co-owners, and she is really excited. I said, we're going to have my friend come through a opening. He'll open a doorway for him to come from Arizona into your shop within seconds. And then the thing will close. And then when he needs to go back to Arizona, he will go back and open it up, and he'll go back right to where he is at his location. Now, for some people, they might think this is sci-fi or this is impossible. This is never going to happen. I've got news for you. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And it's going to kind of freak people out, some people. But, yeah, we're going to end up doing this, So keep your eyes open when we do this. It's going to be a live event. I don't know yet when we're going to do it. It has to be when this thing is ready, this particular technology. And he's brilliant, a good friend of mine. I mean, we became really good friends pretty quick when I first met him. He's getting his rights back to broadcast on the 7th of December. I'll be planning the date out on the calendar. I'll be looking tonight after I go, tomorrow, I'll be looking at calendars in the morning. We'll set a date. You'll see a promotional video here about it. About the next contact with Heideka. So I'm gonna pronounce the name right, and that's for the communications with the space being, which will actually happen. So we're gonna reconnect with Heideka in probably before Christmas, It'll be on a Friday night. I'll let people know about it. I'll have a video going here on TikTok, and you'll hear his voice. Don't you have to have something on the receiving end to accept him? Oh, you mean to accept who? John? No. When he opens the portal, he can just come right through. It'll just come right through. So when we do this, it's going to be the first time I've seen it happen, and you're going to see visually what happens. And we might make a video about the promotion of it happening. I'm going to talk with him about that, if we should do that, or just just let people know on our show that we're going to do it. I'm still going back and forth at the ping pong ball on that, so I'm not sure yet. I'm still meditating on that. Luna, welcome to the show. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So the flowers. Yes, it would be great. So what we're going to do is probably something people in power in different governments don't want people to see this. And frankly, we don't care. Frankly, to tell you the truth, I've always been well protected by the Ashtar Command, my space brothers. I'm very well protected in everything I do in my mission work. And I'm here to bust the matrix, so I don't care. When you don't care and you're not concerned about Earth-based power, then they get afraid, you see. They get afraid. I think they're afraid of us. I've come to the conclusion that the powers that be are afraid of us. When I say us, not just me, all of us. No, Cheryl, they're not taking anybody out. Throw that out of your head. They're not taking anybody out. They're not taking John Connors out. Nobody out. Put your thoughts into positive consciousness. That's all. Your mind getting fear-based into it. Don't listen to your mind. None of that's going to happen. They are scared, Stella. I'm telling you, they are. I've been on this mission work since I was able to be, awakened all these years. And like I said, there'll be times when they try to trip you up, but they can never stop you. When they try to trip you up, you become fully aware in 2 seconds what they did. 2 seconds. When there are people here that are going to bust the matrix on planet Earth of the systems that tried to tell people lies on the media regarding extraterrestrials, UFOs, everything about our ancient galactic history, and there are people that are willing to challenge that, they don't like it, you see. So where I come from, there's no fear. When you have no fear, that's what scares them. When you have no fear, that's the thing that scares the people that are trying to control the narrative about UFO disclosure, about the essence of life on other planets, about extraterrestrial intelligence, about angels, about light beings. All of that exists, but there are people in power that think they have all the knowledge and they're going to have all the control. But they're not. They can never. We won't let them have it. You won't let them have it. As long as you stand in your light and you don't live in fear, the worst thing you can do for yourselves is anyone who fears in this system of this planet, the powers that be, don't fear them. They're more afraid of you because you've woken up. You've woken up. You're questioning the realities on your planet Earth. You're questioning the lies for 70 years regarding the intelligences of other planetary systems. You've been lied to for so many years. What they were teaching was to be very complacent, just follow the rules, and just be a good little human being, get a job, go to work, read a newspaper, watch cable TV, play the video games, Nintendo, or whatever, and don't wake up. Just do everything we tell you, right? Hey, Yalgal, good to see you. Sassy Scoots. So I'm saying here, don't ever be afraid. Never. In your mission, in your life, in your walk. Hey, Larry. Yeah, all is acting on will of God. So, and God is the creator of all the multiverse. God is the creator of all the planetary systems, the suns, the moons, the stars. And all the different galactic races are created by the creator, which is a beautiful God that creates everything. If people on earth would just understand what God is, instead of their religions, they'd understand the true nature of who God is from a galactic standpoint. You've seen UFOs? Yes. I've seen spaceships since I was a little kid. Before I was a teenager in the 60s, my first contact was a flying saucer with men, women, and children wearing light blue outfits or spaceships, space outfits. And I was preteen. And they were telepathic. They were men, women, and children. Very beautiful energy. That was my first encounter. And then in the 80s, two big ships appeared to me in the early 80s. But I've seen many, many spaceships. I don't even call them UFOs. They were actually spaceships. Yeah, good question. I appreciate the question. I'm also involved in C5 activity with a group here in Connecticut. We are, yeah, if they talk to me, yes, telepathically. So when I communicate with a space being before there was an internet, being called Kadaramanka. Him and I have been in touch with each other through the Ashtar Command, which are the positive beings, spiritual beings. I've been in touch with him before there was ever internet, cell phone, or anything. Yeah, I'm a contactee, you might say. The word contactee, if you're not used to it, is someone who has contact with non-terrestrial intelligence. That's a simple way of putting it. And we, on here, we do interview people that have had stories to tell, have had encounters. We've had people on here that have visitations, all kinds of things that have gone on. I've interviewed many, many people on my radio show. I do radio here for people that are new on NPR Pacific Radio Sunday morning. That's tomorrow morning, 11:30 a.m. on the internet and on FM and on TikTok. You'll be able to watch my show tomorrow morning at 11:30 Eastern. I'm doing that show for about 20 years, called the Cosmic Eye Ashtar Command Radio. So there's a lot for new people just getting into the subject, there's a lot to learn, and take your time, because there's a lot of stuff I know about pretty much a lot of things. There's things I don't know too, and if I don't know it, I won't answer the question. I'll just say I don't know it. I've got messages through my Indian artifacts. Oh, interesting, Kevin. So, hey, Sue, welcome to the show. People of a monster, good to have you with us. Jay Dizzle, I think it is. So I'm trying to acknowledge some people. One Duck, thank you for the roses. So we're here to enlighten people on the show. We're here to give people information about disclosure. RJBC, do you believe they will make themselves known soon? They already have. So for those new people, Carol Simpson, welcome. I'm going to share some information for the new people to the show. We started having voice contact with a group of space people from the constellation Sirius about 4 or 5 weeks ago, maybe, through my TikTok. And it went through an app that I have. I'm not going to mention the app's name because it's sitting right here on a table. They played a Billie Holiday song. And after that happened, I was doing a live broadcast. That's when we started having contact. They were coming over my TikTok with a static and started speaking. And all this stuff is documented on my YouTube channel, Ashtar Command Spaceship News. All my shows are there. Although, if you're not seeing my new shows on there, I'm having some technical problems with the download on TikTok. So I'm going to bring my phone in to my phone guy and see if it's something I've had lost. Maybe I used all my memory up. I don't know what happened. I went through everything, but there must be something I'm missing. Amy, hello from Florida. Good to have you with us, Amy. Yeah, we recorded. Everything's recorded because on my show here, it's live, it's recorded, and then we can play clips of it on my main page. But some of the show, my past shows that are on YouTube, at some point you'll see, and you'll not only see it, you'll hear the voice of the being called Heideka. We'll be bringing him in when I have John Connors on with me. Where, like I said, John Connors is in Arizona. I'm in Connecticut. We've realized that he's the transmitter. I'm the other link, which is the receiver. So when he's on with me, we go on to a radio frequency on AM, and that's when they come through. So we will have him on. I don't think Heideke is going to come through my TikTok tonight. If that happens, I will be surprised. We tried to do something the other night on Friday night, and there was solar geomagnetic storms that interfered with communications. And I also believe it interfered with intergalactic communications. So we were not able to make the contact. We went to 2 different frequencies, but the storms are so prevalent that I think it disrupted intergalactic communications between them and between us. But when John Connors comes on the show soon, we will have the space being speak. We don't do any channeling here. We don't do any of that stuff. This is all going to be real, the real deal. And like I said, I've had my telepathic communications going on for a number of years before the internet. I've learned to be telepathic. We all have the ability. And that's how I communicate with the space being called Kadar Manka. And he's on the ship, one of the ships, and I have communications with him directly. My information I get is direct from him. I also have my own information. I'm fully conscious, fully awakened. I don't read anybody's websites. I don't read anybody's agendas. I try to keep everything pure. Tina, how did you have in your telepathic skills? I learned my telepathic skills when I was a kid, only because I heard them transmitting the space people that were in a cul-de-sac hovering in their ship said to me, and I heard it in my consciousness, "You're not from this planet. You are part of our galactic family." And I heard it in my head, the voices of them speaking, or one of them. And they said they loved me. And I always remembered that. And they said, "You're not from here." Never forgot. I also, I remember the picture of what they looked like. I can remember everything about the ship. I can remember what the ship looked like. I can remember the color of the windows around the craft. I can remember the lights blinking in the center of it like an energy system. I remember every single thing. I don't forget anything. Never forgot them. And so telepathy is easy to learn. You just have to, instead of speaking in words like this, if you ever have an encounter with a positive encounter, and you see a spaceship or a UFO coming close to you and it hovers and you feel beautiful energy, then you can ask in your consciousness, who are you, where are you from? Are you Christed beings of light? I always would say the first thing you want to ask, are you Christed beings of light? And what planetary system do you come from? That's one of the things I teach people in some of my workshops, how to do this properly and do it the right way. So yeah, telepathy, everybody has the latent ability of telepathy. You just have to learn how to use it. Why Christ? It's very important. I don't talk about Christ on a religious word. Christ, cosmic Christ, means that if you don't use the word, are you a Christ, a being of light, you can be communicating with anybody, and it could be a negative ET. So you have to be really disciplined. You have to learn exactly what to do. I've been doing this for years. We have a C5 group in Connecticut. When we get ourselves together on the beach or something, we do a spiritual prayer. And we always in our prayer, when we're making contact, we say, only Christed beings of light may communicate with us if you appear in your ships. And you have to be race specific. You're not going to be general and say, "Oh, could somebody just come in and communicate with me?" No, you don't do that. You're looking for trouble. That means anybody can come through in terms of the ship. Dan, good question. So angelic beings they have planets too. Believe it or not, the angelic realm has planetary systems as well as the light beings and other beings in our multiverse, in beyond our Earth. Great questions. So yeah, but the other question, the other young person was asking, or the other person was asking about the Christ, you always want to invoke the Christ consciousness. You always want to operate yourself in a higher level of frequency. People need to learn, if you don't know how to do it, you always embrace a protection of Christ energy around you, always, wherever you are, wherever you go on the planet, always. And that includes making contact with space people. If you don't do that, then you don't know who you're dealing with. So great question, CCA. Great question. So give me a break for what? You can take a break anytime you want, Seabiscuit. Who are you saying give me a break to? On Encounters, the UFO talk show. Who are you saying give me a break to? Hey, Teresa, welcome to the show. Encounters, Moon, welcome to the show. Ghetto Super, Caroline Wheelwright. Kathleen, hey, good to see you. Kit Kat Break, hey, Scooby-Doo. Spiritual Love, Soul Tribe, we welcome you to us here. Hey, Kevin, welcome, Kevin. Working Mustang, thanks for the likes. Shay 505, Laura Buzz, I think it is. Gizzybug, how you doing? Yeah, I'm waiting for Seabiscuit to tell us who he's saying giving me a break to. Yeah, I'm Shy is still around. I have to connect with her. I was in touch with her a few days ago. We are going to make communications, and I will be getting in touch with her. For people that are not familiar with I'm Shy, she's our DOD contact in the Department of Defense, and she's our person that has been on our show sharing information, and we'll be hopefully getting her back on here soon. So I am trying to get in touch with her. I am in touch with her, and we'll figure out when that's going to happen. Lunatic, welcome to the show. Everybody coming in here. I think Grace and Chesno might be sleeping. Green Man, we'll definitely see if we do. Let me see what you got going here. So Green Man, we'd love to have you on here. You only have 108 followers. If we can get you another 100 followers, we can have you on here on audio. So we have to help him or she or he get on there. Hey, Teresa. Good to have her. And we definitely want to hear people's, Karen J, good to have you with us. We want to hear people's UFO stories. If you've seen UFOs, I try to keep things flowing on the show. Are you the modern day Art Bell? I know it's a serious question. I actually was on Art Bell's show years ago. I went on Art Bell's show years ago, and I was talking about the Ashtar Command. It was like, I said, who does a show on AM radio at 1 a.m? I'm on the East Coast, and I went on his show. He put me on the air, and I talked about the Ashtar Command for a little bit. I love Art Bell. He was great. He lived I guess he was in a trailer in the desert somewhere when he was doing the show. And I was like, oh, he's in the desert in a trailer. That's pretty cool. So I'm not sure. Some people say, oh, he's like, they're saying, CmdrAleon, you're like the Art Bell. So I take that as a compliment because I loved Art Bell. I would always listen to him. He always had great interviews with people. He always did. You're better than Art Bell's replacement. Well, contact their network and tell them to put me on the air. No, I'm just kidding you. I'd rather be on here visually doing a talk show on TikTok. I still do radio. I do 20 years of radio on NPR Pacifica Radio, WESUFM.org, if you want to listen to me tomorrow morning. I also broadcast my show on my radio show on TikTok at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. It's 10:30 Central, so forth and so on, and all that stuff. Hey, Kit Kat, good to have you with us. Korea, I think it's Korea. Savannah something, Dusty Hoodoo. Brandon Boyce, welcome to our show. Daily Vibe with my Soul Tribe, good to have you with us. Jeanette 1, Debbie Hayek, good to Irene. I'm acknowledging everybody again. TikTok something. I can't keep up with it. But welcome everybody coming in here. I do see you, I acknowledge you, and I welcome you to our show. So what I'm looking for tonight, Luke says it's intense now. Need help as never before. God trust issue build up all eons. By all eons. So if anyone has an encounter story and you have over 200 followers, I can get you on audio. If you have 1,000 plus, I can get you on both audio and visually to have you turn the camera on and you can be on the show. Anybody out there having any stories, we'd love to have you as our guest. I try to keep things like flowing pretty good here. We do have return guests. we're not opposed to it at all, but I want to get some stuff that is new, fresh, that's happening to people. So don't be afraid to talk about hey, coffee time, don't be afraid to talk about your sightings, your encounters. We want to hear about them here. And again, this is on TikTok, an actual talk show on UFOs. We don't have any battles here. We don't have any games going on here. I don't do all that garbage. I'll leave that for the other side of the world. My whole thing is to present a talk show that is of quality, where people can come on here. We just want to make sure nobody vapes on here, no smoking on here. I've had to sometimes tell people, well, you can't do that, else I won't be here. So no smoking, no vaping. Keep the language clean. We want to keep the show at the highest levels possible on the vibes. And as far as anything goes, just sharing your stories. If you've had a sighting last night, or you had a sighting last week, or if you had visitations by light beings, and you're saying, should I come on here and talk about it? Yeah, you should. Because I'm a contactee. I've had encounters. So this is a show where you're talking to somebody as a host of the show that has had experiences. I have tons of stories. And I do share my stories, believe me. But I'm one of these people that likes to listen to people's stories. I like to hear what people are doing. I want to know what's going on out there. I've committed this show to being a place where people in every country all over the planet can come on here, whatever time zone, and come out and come forward with their stories to share about the encounters they're having, with space people. I would like to do it once. Luca, you would like to do what once? Have an encounter? My mom had contact as a kid. She asked if it was God, and he asked her who was God. Interesting. Let me see here. WJB, if you'd like to come on, I'm going to invite you as my first guest. That's very interesting. My mom had contact as a kid. He asked her who was God. What? That's a great comment.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm very interested. Hey, WJB, welcome.
Thank you. Yes, she told this story to us when I was about 20 something. But she's passed since then. But anyway, she was really fascinated with UFOs. But she said that one day that she was in bed at night and she saw a light coming down from the sky, and she thought it was it scared her. And she thought that,
Can you bring your camera on? Do you know how to use the
I don't
camera?
want to go on the camera. I'm outside.
Oh, you don't want to go? Okay, no problem.
Is
But
that okay?
I definitely ask. I usually like the camera thing, but I understand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sitting outside in the garage and I don't want to cut it down. But
Oh,
anyway,
forget it. Yeah, don't worry about it. Go ahead.
um, she got scared to get up to go lock the back door because her parents were out on the front porch and they were singing it or something like that, took off down the road. This was back in the 40s. Anyways, she said when she got to the back door, there stood a man in a purple metallic jumpsuit. And because she saw like meteorites or something like falling out of the sky, lights, whatever, she thought it was God, because she always heard that God would come down in a chariot of fire. So
Oh,
she asked if he
okay.
was God. He said, "Who is God?" And she said the next thing she knew, she was standing up outside of the house the next day up against the wall. But she did tell me that she had memories of being on board the craft and seeing other people in the hollow, is what they call it, the hollow, on board the craft, and they were like doing like medical experiments or like, giving them like a physical, the people.
Hmm.
But
Well,
she didn't like talking about it a lot because people made fun of her.
now this is interesting. So this space being had a spacesuit on, correct?
Purple metallic jumpsuits, what she said.
Jumpsuit, and they looked human, just like we do, right?
She just said that right there. That's all I know is purple. And thought he was God because she'd heard that God would come down in a chariot of fire.
Oh yeah, I can understand what she means by that. So she said when she was on this particular ship that there were other people doing medical things on the ship.
There were other people that was from her area, like other
Yeah,
farmers or whatever, and
yeah,
that they were doing like medical, like checkups, like they were checking the people out. The beings were checking them out. Like
they were checked. So were the beings human like we are, or were they different?
All she told us is it was a purple metallic jumpsuit. That's all I know.
Purple Moon. That to me is interesting. Well, the fact that they said who is God is
Yeah.
kind of weird because usually most galactic races know who God is. Most galactic civilizations know who God is. So I think that's interesting that that's what they said to her, or that being said to her. How would they not know who God is on other planetary systems? I find that interesting, you know?
Right. It scared her because she was always told that when God would come down, he'd come down in a chariot of fire. And
Mhm.
that's why she asked him if he was God. And
Yeah.
she said she didn't like talking about it. I tried to get her to go and get, um, what do you call it? Where they go and get hypnotized.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she wouldn't do it. She would not do it. And she didn't like talking about it a lot either. But she would watch
Yeah.
everything sci-fi. My mother would watch everything sci-fi.
Yeah. No, sometimes the sci-fi things can get you into messy situations because the sci-fi things can separate the truth from the reality. Same thing with a number of movies made by Hollywood. Hey, James, good evening, brother.
Oh,
And that's my co-host,
WJB.
James. And, WJB, it's really interesting. I just find it interesting. So you're in a farm area. So there were other farmers on board the spaceship.
Yes, I think you can look it up. There was it was in Alabama in the 40s. There was like a newspaper article, like something about the UFOs were all around the scene.
Really?
Yeah, you can look it up. It's a
Wow.
big old line because I've
What
tried
part
looking
of
for
Alabama?
the northwest part of Alabama. And I forgot to tell you this too. There was a girl that was stayed all night with her, and that girl came up missing. And they found her
Hmm.
like 30 miles away on the trace. When she saw my mother, she goes, "You lied to me. That wasn't God."
And oh my gosh!
I
And
forgot all about that. Yes, I forgot
they
about that.
took they took her. She was taken to and dropped off 30 miles away.
Yes, and whenever they found her, she was like, she's like on the Natchez Trace Parkway,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which was far away, about 20 miles, 30 miles away from her home.
Really?
Yeah,
You said that was in the 40s.
it had to be in the 40s because my mother was born about
40s. Wow.
38, 38, something like that. So it was like 40.
Yeah.
But you can
Wow.
look it up in Alabama about the UFOs being seen all over Florence, Alabama, I think.
Really?
Yes.
I'll have to check that story out. I'll have to look it up. That
Yeah,
I'll look
her
up
story's not on there, but there's a story about the UFOs being
about the
spotted.
UFOs.
Yes.
So in the 40s, there were all these UFOs or spaceships or whatever. Your mother had an encounter with a space being in a spacesuit. She was taken on board a spaceship, and so were the other farmers
Yes.
that were on the ship, and they were doing medical examinations.
Yes. She said that
That's
right, like they were like picking up I think she's like plants and stuff like that. And just I can't remember all of
plants.
it. Yeah, it's something about plants and was looking at the plants, our plants and stuff, and plus the people on the earth.
So they were interested. It sounds like they were interested in agriculture
Yes.
because they were farmers, right? So they were very interested in agriculture,
Well,
and also,
they were farmers because they were poor. They had like gardens. That's about it. But they were,
right, gardens.
you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah. But they were interested in the fact that people were growing things like vegetables or whatever, correct?
I would say, yeah.
And then they were interested. Did she say they were doing medical examinations on everybody they took on
Yeah.
that ship?
And she
They
said
were.
she noticed that she knew some of the people that was on board there, but from the area.
Wow.
Really?
Yes, but
That's crazy. That's
That's the
incredible.
first time I've heard of like a mass abduction like that. And
Yeah.
Commander, back then in the 40s, the Zetas were really bold. The Zetas
Oh yeah.
were, and they were. This was before Eisenhower met with them and all of that. And I think this was a Zeta encounter.
Yeah, I think it was too.
what do the Zetas
They might have.
wear? Did they ever say what they look like? The Zetas?
Well,
They
some
have
say
they have outfits for sure that might look
they
like
do.
purple.
She said like a
They
purple
do.
metallic jumpsuit.
Yeah, no, they could. I mean, some Zetas don't have any spacesuit on, but the ones that do, yeah, James is right. Some of them do have these spacesuits on.
Well, she was
I've never heard that
intrigued
story
with all
before.
of
That's
it
amazing.
And
forever.
The Zetas, especially back in the 40s and 50s, they they were very bold in their abductions. All really through the 40s all the way into the 70s. They were very bold.
Yeah,
They were very out in the open with it, and your mother was probably one of those people. Yeah, I believe it.
yeah. And what's amazing is, WJB, is that I've never heard a story where all the people, and she knew these people, all in the same community in Alabama, were on the same spaceship, and I've never heard anything of that kind of a story in my life. That's amazing.
It really is.
He's
It
the only one
is.
that I know of as well, too. I don't know anybody else other than what she told me, and it's really
Hmm.
intriguing what she told me. And it took me a while to get her to talk about it because
Yeah,
she told me the story twice. That's it. And I
Well,
guess
you know
that's it.
what? You know what really made me lead to believe that it was the Zetas, Commander? Because when
Yeah,
she asked if they were God, they said, "Who is God?" And we
right.
know that the Zetas are disconnected.
They're totally disconnected from God, because they used to have emotions and feeling and all these things, and then they're planetary. Some of the Zeta systems, um, they became less human in their emotions. They used to have advanced cities and all these things, and then they became less than what they were before because they got so advanced in technology they forgot the human equation. And that's why when you see a Zeta, they look humanoid, but they're not really like we are. They
Yeah,
lost
they,
it.
they have that soul. They have that soulless look to them.
Yeah, they do. And that's exactly what it is. Oh wow, look, what
Oh,
is that?
look at
A
that!
swan? Thank you. Hey,
Wow!
Brandy, thank you for the swan. Thank you so much. I much
well, I
appreciate your
wonder if
support.
my mother also she got what I call she began to have like premonitions, like she would know something was going to happen the day before. I wonder if those people had stuff like that, or if there's any
She
reports of
is
that.
Your mom was probably back then. I don't know if they would understand the terminology. She was probably very aware. She was probably psychic, or in a sense, psychic, or had a knowing, and that's why she probably knew that they were going to actually do that to her. It's unfortunate, but yeah, like James is saying, back in the 40s, 50s, and even through the 60s, these Zeta, and I think even into the 80s somewhat, there were people being taken aboard for medical examinations by a certain group of Zetas that had lost the ability to understand who God was, and they did. Now, yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
she went to lock the door because she was scared because of the
Yeah,
lights. She went
yeah.
to go
Well,
lock
I
the
mean,
door. That's when the guy was standing there. The alien was standing there.
yeah. Well, they knew where she was. I mean, yeah. Put it this way: they knew where she was. They
Well,
knew. I
they
don't
weren't
know.
just coming for her; they were coming for the whole community.
Almost, yeah. That's just amazing. Almost the whole community. They chose a community, and they came after most everybody. Not all of them, but
I'm
most of them.
assuming back then in the 40s, it was very isolated area.
Yeah, it probably was. It's like what they call the holler. Like I said, I'm from
Yeah.
Alabama, and we didn't, wasn't that big of a place where there's that. And but she said that when she came to herself, she was standing. The next day, what she remembers next is she was standing upside against her house, up against the wall, and it was
Mm-hmm.
daylight. Then she went
Mm-hmm.
inside the house, and when the babies had rolled off the bed and underneath the bed, whatever, she's getting it out, and her mom was going, "Where you been?" Or
Mm-hmm.
she asked her mother where they went last night. She goes, "We didn't go nowhere." Which she said that her parents took off down the street, so they probably got picked up too. I don't know.
Well, that's like just incredible. I mean, all the stories I've heard, and I've heard stories about abductions for years. I knew Bud Hopkins, who wrote many books about it. I've never heard of multiple people in one community being taken. This is the first time I've ever actually heard that.
Yeah, this is amazing. Wait, WJB, you said that the night of your mother's abduction, when she came home, her parents were gone?
The reason she got up is because she saw the lights
Right. She
in the
saw the
sky.
light.
Her parents were on the front porch and they were playing music or something like that with friends, and she said they took off down the road.
Oh,
So she
because
got
they saw the
scared.
light and went and to go
It,
investigate.
She doesn't know because they took off. She decided to go lock that back door. When she
yeah.
went to the back
Right.
doors, when she saw the man there, she asked him if he was God, and he said, "Who's God?" And next thing she knows, she's on board the craft.
And then
So
when
he actually
she asked them about it, they were like, "No, we didn't leave. We didn't go anywhere."
The next day, they
didn't go
said they didn't
anywhere.
go anywhere. She said, "We didn't go nowhere." I guess
So
they did too.
so this did the space being verbally, like James and I or you are talking, like with our mouth and talking, did he respond in words or in mind communications?
That
Did
I
she tell
don't.
you that?
That I don't know. I just know that she knew exactly what she'd asked him, and he knew exactly what vice versa. I don't know how they spoke,
Yeah, it must have been telepathic, Commander. She knew directly what was being said.
but she
Mm.
wasn't but about seven
Wow.
years old.
She was how old now?
She was about 7 or 8.
She was 7 or 8 when it happened?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know
Uh,
that. Wow, that's amazing.
so
And the parents probably had their memories erased, and they probably didn't even worry about the child. They were like, "Oh, we got to erase these parents' memories."
I don't
Right.
know. I absolutely don't know. But I just knew that she thought he was God.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, and I use the word crazy in a different
Yeah,
way,
it's a
but
good way. It's a good crazy.
it's a good crazy because it's a great story. I mean, it's one I've never, and since I've been on TikTok for over a year, I've never heard a story like this. And it's, I'm going to look that up, the 1940s Alabama UFO
Right.
sightings. And
It's Florence, Alabama. It's sometime in
Florence,
the
Alabama.
1940s. Yeah, Florence, Alabama. Alabama, a lot of UFO reported sightings. I mean,
Hmm.
I actually looked it up myself not long ago, back about a year ago, and there's actual newspaper clippings on there where I could go and
Right.
read.
Florence, Alabama. I'm
Wow.
going to have to look
Hmm.
for the clippings on the internet. That is something I will certainly go on the search engine for. Historically speaking, that to me is an amazing thing. And you're watching Encounters. WJB is our guest with a great story, and we're glad she's here. Christina, thank you for the hand hearts. Thank you for everyone who's coming in here joining us. Oh, thank you again. Oh, thank you for the roses. I appreciate that. All the support we're getting on the show. Thank you again. Those hearts are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome, Robin, everybody coming in here to Encounters. This is the late night UFO talk show, the #1 spiritual UFO talk show on social media. And we're glad you're finding us here on TikTok. So become a regular, follow us, follow everybody. Everybody follow everybody. I'm about uplifting everybody vibe-wise, and everybody should follow everybody. If you don't know each other, this is a place where you can come in and feel comfortable, have a cup of tea, coffee, I don't have my apple cider tonight,
Have a
but
cup
that's all
of
right.
tea, have a coffee, and talk about your UFO encounters.
I have a
That's right.
That's the
question.
way I like it.
Me
I have
too.
a question. Do y'all know anything about the Chris Bledsoe, his encounters?
Who?
Chris
What?
Bledsoe.
I've heard of the name. I think I've briefly taken a look. I haven't spent a lot of time looking, but everyone keeps talking about Chris Blesso, and I think I've looked at some things about.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, I've been trying to figure out his too as well because all he sees is lights, like beings of light. I think he
Yeah.
calls it UFO of God or something like that.
Well, he might call me UFO God. I think what he's seeing is light beings, and he's probably having encounters with
Name of
intelligences that are of a
is
higher
of God.
frequency.
Commander, the name of his book is called UFO of God.
Yeah, I
UFO
think
of God.
so.
I'm gonna have to check out his information of what it's about, so I can have a better understanding of how to relate to it. I'll have to check that out a little bit. UFO of God. Okay,
Yeah, I think he
I'll
calls
check
it
that
Lady
out.
of like the Lady of Fatima too. I think he calls it like the Lady of Fatima, like the kids in Fatima when they saw the dancing.
Yeah,
I think he correlates all that to Fatimas as well. Which it
yeah.
could
The
be.
kids of
They were
Fatima.
probably seeing UFOs.
Yeah. So the whole thing with Fatima, if you decode the information from the religious community about Fatima, what happened at Fatima was there were highly advanced space beings, women. When they say Mother Mary, Now, this is going to blow people's minds because I'm taking everything from a galactic standpoint of understanding. So here's another thing where we're going to bust the matrix on religion. The kids that saw what they saw at Fatima, they were seeing actually a woman who was projected in a hologram and then visually showed herself. What they call the religious people called her the Mother Mary, but in essence, she was a space person.
Yeah.
You see, this is where the religious people are going to go crazy with me because they're saying, "What is he talking about?" Yeah, she was a space person, just like Jesus Christ was also from the stars. He was a star seed. But the religious people have him in a religious thing on a cross with things in his head and the thorns in his head, and that's not who Jesus was or is. Jesus is a light being, a star being. Mother Mary, a star being. They call her Mother Mary. But I have physical. Go ahead.
Okay, then there's a lot of people that sees like deceased loved ones and stuff. And
right.
Who are these people? That's what I asked you in the I think in the chat, because back about 2 weeks ago I was laying in the bed and I was asleep, and I ain't gonna lie, I've been sick off and on, but I thought I saw a man in my house, and I thought I saw a dog in my house. I was laying in my bed, and I could have swore that my grandfather tried to grab my hand, and he's dead. And I went, no, and I jumped up and screamed no, and the only thing is,
so
he looked like my grandfather, but he had on a red shirt, and my grandfather always wore like white shirts,
right.
Suits.
Well, I can.
That was just an angel.
Yeah.
That was just Grandpa coming as an angel, coming to say hey.
Yep.
I thought if I knew that if he touched my hand, though, I thought I would die. I'm not lying. I'm like, no.
No, you're not going to die. Don't touch me. You're letting your mind take over. Don't let your mind do that.
Yeah, he's just messing with you. Was he a jokester?
Don't let your mind do that.
No, but the thing is, this is what I could say, that he was the first person I'd sit with that died.
Mm-hmm.
So right before he died, I was the one that was sitting with him right before he died.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have been about 18. So I thought, well, if I was to die, he'd be the first one to come and, greet me probably, because, I was there with him. But still, nobody wants to. I wasn't ready to die outside.
Well, you're not going to die. I mean, look at it this way. James is right. We have family members that visit. I can tell you that my father visits me. My father, I just found that out, that he's visiting me. He's here. So I now know he's here. I'll say, Dad, I love you. I want you to be with my mom. I'm glad you're visiting. I'm okay, and I will be okay. And because he cares about me, and I always was very close to my dad, and I love him. So I tell him, and then when I get off my live, I'm finding out now that we're a beacon, like a light beacon in our house, all of us. And so now I have to bring the angels in after I get off the air of the show to open a gate to let all these people that have passed to go into the next level of light. That's what I do after the show. People don't know this, but that's what I do. I wasn't doing it before because when I do my show, I'm opening a portal. I didn't know I was doing that. And so now I'm conscious of that. And now after the show, I let all the ones that are passing that want to go cross over, they do. And after I know they've all crossed over, I close the portal. And I thank the angels and the Christed beings for helping do that. And then I go to sleep. So that's what I'll be doing after the show. So no one really knew that.
So then what you're believing, if you're doing that, what you're believing in is that there's some good angels or good people or whatever spirits and some bad spirits in. For you to do that.
What I'm saying is specifically what I'm saying is I don't let any no negativity around me. There won't be ever an allowance of negative anything around me or anything around my family, because I work in Christed consciousness. When I say that, I work in the highest level of consciousness. When you work in the highest level of consciousness, there's no fear. I know I set the perimeters. Before I went on the show, I asked the Ashtar Command, which I work with directly, to set a perimeter, a bubble around the houses and the whole house, the basement, everything. I set a perimeter of energy that prevents anything other than positive energy and light coming through my show and in my surroundings. So I know, because I know what I'm doing, I am very, very determined to make sure nothing else other than positive comes in here.
Yeah, those negative entities can't mess with us.
No, they can't mess with us.
There's no difference if I pray. I know that you said that God, but Jesus was Christ consciousness or whatever, but I will pray for God for for protection, like you know.
Right. Well, but if you have Christ consciousness, God created Christ consciousness. It all comes from God. There's no separation. This is why I try to teach people. Everything is connected to God. Christ consciousness, is the creation of God. All the planetary systems of peace, they operate in Christ consciousness. When you're operating in Christ consciousness, nothing can affect you. You see,
And
that's where.
I think, like me personally, I tell people, you manifest that how you want.
Yeah.
You do your protection, your prayer, however you want,
Right.
and God knows you're talking to him.
Right.
Whichever God you choose to, ask to protect you.
And let me just put it this way. And this is from the galactic understandings. I want to teach people something here. There's not 10,000 gods or goddesses. There's one God. He's not a he or a she. God is God. God is just love. God is just light. That's the two things about God people on this planet don't understand. God is love. God is light. God operates in unconditional love. It's on this planet where people have separated everything. We separate countries. We separate people. We've come. We do all these things on Earth that's not done on other planetary systems. But we do it on Earth because our mind creates all these things that aren't real. We create the negative. We create the negative pockets. We don't have to have them, but we create that energy, and therefore it manifests itself. If you want to live 100% in harmony with the universe, with God, then always allow yourself, not your mind, go within your higher self and say to yourself, I put a protection of Christ consciousness, Christed energy around me. And if everybody does that, it has nothing to do with religion. Religion is the worst thing on the planet, no matter what it is. I don't care what your religion is. Throw it out the window. You want to really connect, you really want to connect with positivity, connect with the true essence of love. When you're making connections with space people, know who you're connecting with. I always teach people in my classes, when we do things together, if we have a C5 and we're going out to a apple orchard, which we do, we make contact, we're going to have positive contact because we all know what we're doing. If you're going out doing something and you're saying, well, you know what's this or what's that? Why am I afraid of this? People need to get over their fears in order to understand the things that they don't understand. When you get rid of the fear comes from your mind. It doesn't come from your heart. It comes from your mind. The mind creates fear, not the heart, right? So if people have encounters with space people, you have to use discernment as to whether they're positive or negative. And you have to do that by feeling their energy. So if you have a spaceship or UFO come at you and it hovers and you feel like, oh, this beautiful energy coming at them, you can ask. At that point, you're not afraid. You can ask, who are they? If you feel ship B comes over and you feel sick and icky and all this stuff, you need to get away from there. You need to, because you have to put a protection around you, even if you have an icky situation, and say, I'm not going to be affected by you, I'm leaving. But not because you're afraid, because you now know the difference between the positive ship and positive beings versus the ones that are showing up making you feel kind of icky, right? So people need to learn.
How many different races are there in the UFO? I don't get that. You said the
You can know it's not.
There's about
It's not
100.
races in the UFO. Oh my God! I mean, the races. There's so many galactic civilizations that you wouldn't even be there. More than any country in the world. You think how many countries are on the planet Earth? There are so many galactic beings and races and planets and solar systems and parallel realities. It would boggle your human mind. It's way more. I don't even know the numbers, but they're way, way more. Probably hundreds of different civilizations from many planetary
And that's
systems.
only on WJB. I'm going to really blow your mind. That's only on this timeline and this dimension.
Mm-hmm.
There's
right.
millions more. There's millions
That's
more
right.
on within the multiverse.
That's right. So don't get
And
too boggled down in your mental
what's even
state
the
about
greater
it.
about it? We don't even have to. We don't even really need to worry about all that.
Right.
We
thank you.
our purpose is to be good, show
Right.
love. Like Julie said, be happy, not snappy.
That's right.
And like Commander said, if religion was meant to separate us, but if that's what you're comfortable doing, and that's what you're comfortable doing. At the end of the day,
Right.
if we're good and we're living love and light and really just walking the walk and not just talking the talk, the higher entities of the universe will recognize you.
That's right. That's right. We all are what's the word for it? When we all grow up in a family, we're all products of our family. And whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, we are products of our own family, biologically speaking. And as we grow, either we find ourselves different from our rest of our family, or our families had encounters like you were talking about your mom in the 1940s when she was just a kid. I mean, we all have things that happen to us. And so it's really important and I'm glad you're here, JB, because you're learning some stuff here tonight. That one of the things I also help is, focus on Christ consciousness. I know you're learning a lot. This is all kind of new to you. I'm not the fact that your mom had that experience as a kid. I am so happy you shared that story because there are probably other people out there that had moms or dads back in the 40s, or it could have been the 50s or the 60s, that had similar situations where they were taken by some space beings and the same thing or something similar happened to them. But one of the things I can tell you, because I'm not from this planet, I came from Mars before I came here to Earth, that Mars has a population of 10 to 15 billion people on it. And, people have been lied to about Mars, about the civilization on Mars. People think Mars was a dead planet, which was a lie by NASA and by all these space agencies. They want you to think that our solar system is a bunch of planets that used to have life on them when they're all lying about it, because all these planets have life on them. And there's planets that they know about that already they're seeking life on other planets. They already know that life exists in other worlds. God would never create life on just one planet. There are people, though, that believe that Earth was created by God and that God created one planet with life on it. Now, do people out there really, truly believe that garbage? That God would only create one planet with life on it and this is it? Come on now, folks.
I've seen the pictures. I've seen the pictures on the internet of the White House being surrounded by the spaceships, and I've wondered about that many times. Like, I mean, there's actual pictures on the internet you see where the UFOs are around the White House, like back in the
Yeah, in
Eisenhower.
the 1950s, as a matter of fact, to tell you the truth, did you know that in the there's old film footage, I've seen it,
Yeah,
and
I've
a
seen it
lot
too.
of people have, now, you want to know who those ships are from? I can tell you where those ships are from.
Who?
Those ships are from a galactic fleet of the Ashtar Command, which I work with. They came over the White House in the 1950s, and they were trying to make contact with the leaders of the world. The leaders of the world rejected their contact. They met them in the deserts out west in the 1950s. They were given a choice. The leaders were given a choice in the White House to either accept the Ashtar Command's proposal. The
Whoa,
Ashtar Command
look at that.
proposal, and I'm going to tell you what the proposal was. Most people, if you're too young, you don't know it, but I know the history. The proposal was they were going to help us advance our spiritual abilities and our technical abilities in a very peaceful way. The leaders that met with the Ashtar Command in the desert also met with the other group that were advanced, but they were third dimensional beings that were called Zeta. They met with that group. They said, we'll give you our technology of our
You give us
spacecraft
humans.
if you give us the humans to experiment with and abduct. So the leaders of power said, no, Ashtar Command, we like what you're proposing, but we really do want to know how to propel the technology. The technology is much more important than what you're proposing. We can't allow you to do what you're going to do because it would destroy our structure on the planet. Our financial structures, our institutions would fall apart. Religion would not be here as we know it. And that's a true story. I'm sharing with you information.
Yep.
They rejected the proposal in the desert, and that's why you had the abductions.
I think I
That's
heard
why you
about that. Yeah.
It was
the play.
either hey, let's join the Galactic Command and live in peace and harmony,
Mhm.
or let's keep our money and our guns and our
Right,
technology.
and let's have wars. And all these nations that were fighting in wars, what you call the Cold War, everything was planned out. Do you think these leaders are going to, everything was planned out? They all knew behind the scenes that this is great. We were having these wars, we're killing each other, but we're not getting killed. We're just having wars here so we can keep people under control on the planet Earth. That's why all these things have happened. all these wars were created, but all the people in power never got into the wars, never got killed. You know why? Because they're laughing behind the doors saying, Mr. President, I'm the Russian leader. This is going really good. Or I'm the Chinese leader. This is going really good. We have everybody starving, people killing each other. We have homeless people, all this stuff going on Earth, and we still have the
misery
power.
going on Earth. Misery.
This is Emperor Palpatine, and I would
That's
like
right.
to give a warm applause to the leaders of Earth.
That's right.
You
That's right.
have done well for the First Order.
That's right. Just look at it as the Star Wars movies, where you have the Republic and the Empire, and one is wanting to liberate, and the other one wants to control everybody, right? So this is what they've done. They let the Zeta, the other beings that had the technology, but they didn't have the spiritual understanding. They were disconnected. They let them do what they did.
Yeah, it's like instead of teaming up with the Jedis, we teamed up with Jabba the Hutt.
Right, basically, yeah.
When my dad was dying, he would listen to Art Bell. He always liked listening to all the Art Bell old shows I put on YouTube.
Still listen to
And
old episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would replay old shows for him. Anyways, he loved listening to the UFO shows. Anyways, I asked him about a UFO. He said, if one came here, I'd get on that ship and go right along with them. I'm like, you're kidding me. But now, back then, I could not see myself getting on a UFO. But,
well, this is the thing. And this is the thing. You bring up a good thing here. So when people say they get on board a UFO, this is where the education needs to come into. This is really important. Before you get on a spaceship with a non-terrestrial being, you've got to know who they are. You got to know what their level of consciousness is. That is like the thing that I also on this show like to teach people is the differences between lower vibrational beings and higher vibrational beings. Now, if you have a higher vibrational civilization come in a small craft from a larger ship, they land in a field behind your house and say, we've been meaning to contact you. We're beings of love. We come from the planet so-and-so. Would you like to come on our ship versus we're going to take you? That's different. If they say, would you like to come on our ship and see what our world looks like, and we'll bring you back here, and you go on their ship and say, okay, that sounds good. And they treat you nicely, and they have food from their planet or whatever it is on their ship. You're uncomfortable, and in like 5 minutes, you're at their planet.
Well, I just know that he would always say that if a UFO flew by, he would say, "Look, give me a ride." He would go with him. He didn't care. That's how my dad was.
Well, but so I would have had him learn to have discernment between what ship he gets on, because the UFOs are spaceships. So I would use discernment to know who are these beings before you just say, okay, I'm going to go on your ship. It's like saying, okay, you're hitchhiking down a road in the countryside, and they say, I'll give you a ride, and then you end up in a situation that's not good. So what I'm trying to tell people is you have to use discernment.
One of those bad types of
like Christina.
abductions.
Christina says, ask a lot of questions. You're right, Christina.
I would never I would run from a spaceship. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would run. I would. That would freak me out to see one.
They won't mess with you. They won't mess with you.
Well, I'm saying that if one came by, I would not try to get on one. I'm like, nope.
If one comes by, I always tell everybody, just offer them something to eat.
Right.
Say, hey, how you doing? Do you come in peace? Do you come in Christ consciousness? And please don't take my cat.
Right. It's really not taking my cat, Missy. She's a beautiful little cat. She's a ragdoll. So, the thing is, it's always good to ask questions. I've been on the mission work here, when I had my first encounter as a contactee. I've got contactee books. I've read all of them, the ones I have, about the early contactees who went on spaceships with positive beings from Venus. They said they were from Venus, but I don't think they all came from what you call planet Venus. They came from other planets. Billy Myers, the history of Billy Myers in Switzerland.
I don't believe Billy Myers. I think Billy Myers. Now that's my opinion. I believe he made up a lot of that. I really do. But go ahead.
Well, that's what they want you to think he did. That's the disinformation agents. They want you not to believe that he had that. And I bounced back because I've actually at UFO conferences met people that were at Billy Myers' farm when he had the experiences. I have other people that try to discredit him, and don't believe any of that stuff. The discrediting part. If you think all of those Palladian ships were models of flying saucers that were plastic, then they're lying to you. I have a good read on people. He was a poor farmer. He was very loving. He had people would come to his farm. Many pictures were taken, and even government agents came in there and played around and went to his house and probably did some disinformation stuff. So this is why I tell people: don't believe anything people tell you against Billy Myers. He had nothing to gain from this. He was a poor farmer. He didn't say, "Oh, let's come on over and have
Hey,
some
Commander,
sightings."
you've got
Yeah.
people in the chat requesting to come on and share their encounter
Okay,
stories.
I'll get out of here and I'll let somebody else
No,
come.
you could
Okay?
stay up and join us
You
if you'd like.
can stay here. We're going to
Okay.
bring. I think it's Chell. I'm going to bring her up. I know she has. Let's see here. We'll bring her on. We're going to get to everybody. I see a lot of. I think, am I pronouncing it right?
Hello.
Chell. Hey, Chell.
It's Shelly or Michelle.
Shelly.
Hi,
Shelly, how you
Michelle.
doing?
Hi,
And
guys.
where are you from on the planet? Good to have you with us. Could you come on
I'm
this
in
on
Alaska.
the thing? Alaska.
Whoa, are we about to
Alaska,
hear an
Alabama.
Alaska story?
Well, nope.
Can you bring your screen on live on the video, or are you also indisposed?
I'm not. I have to find the right glasses. I have to get my my bifocals on.
Okay. We
My
definitely want to get you on the
readers.
screen if possible. Yeah, if you can.
Okay. Let's see.
While you're getting your outfits on.
And also, we're going to bring in Christina. So we have Shelly first and then Christina. And we're going to say hello, good evening to Christina. Christina, welcome. She's on. And then Shelly's going to be on now as she gets her bifocals on.
Okay, I'm going to try and turn my camera on. I'm not promising. Let's see.
It'll work. You press the save button when you go to turn the camera on.
Thank you.
Yep. And it should work. It should definitely work.
For better or worse, it's about to.
Yep. There
Hello.
you go. Good to see you. See, this is great. So, Shelly, I think Shelly, right?
Yes.
In Alaska. Alaska's an interesting place. Tell us a little bit about your experiences and what's going on up there.
Here in Alaska, oh my gosh, it's its own universe, isn't it? So this is the first time that I've heard humans talking, bringing the high frequency, the God Christ consciousness, and the UFO language together.
Yes.
And I'm the kind of person that I actually, through doing tons of work of my own, I now sit with people. I do energy work amongst a million other things. And when I relate to your language quite a bit, regarding in the space that I hold, right?
Right.
So I've been waiting because of things that have been coming up with me on a personal level. I've been I don't go hunt for information. I always wait for it to come. And here you are. Hi.
Hey.
We are here.
So I work in the highest frequency. It's like I just already had it in me to work in the highest frequency place. And simultaneously, so if I, when I was going through a lot of my work to learn who I am, the angels, or what we would consider angels, were there, right? And they taught me about different levels of frequency and consciousness, and them being the highest frequency of what humans would call angels. And somewhere in my, let's call it a healing process, I had a session with my old Reiki teacher, where I was being worked on by these beings that were like the transparent, but like bluish.
Yeah, translucent.
Translucent. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With the, with the eye, you could see the eyes. They had like human bodies, but it was just translucent, like that bluish color
Right.
with
Oh wow,
and
yeah,
light.
that
They
was
were
an
light.
angel. Yeah.
Well, except for so this is what happened. I was on
Okay.
a I was on a table and they were really big. I could see them all standing over me like when you're at a hospital and they were
Yeah.
really big. But then at some point I realized that they weren't necessarily super tall, but that I was an infant, okay? But
Hmm.
I didn't understand them as angels. I know what I understand as angels, and I didn't understand
Okay.
these as angels unless this is where we
Okay.
start crossing that language between UFO or alien life form and angel, and when those start marrying together, right? Because they had longer limbs, you know, they weren't they were humanoid, but they
Interesting.
had different um, shape, I guess, or
Uh-oh.
you know, the arms were longer than the legs, or down to
Yeah.
down past the knees. I can't explain. But anyways, they showed me. I became aware or conscious of a star constellation, and the star constellation took the shape of a fetus. So I
Hmm.
understood it as my constellation that makes me, right? Like my star constellation self. And the stars all moved around and moved shape because whatever work they were doing on me, all of the stars were able to shift.
Wow.
And then they brought back the matrix level. They
Uh-oh. We have some weird stuff
reprinted
going on
my
here.
We're
sound.
losing
Those
her.
old
Uh,
We're
uh,
losing her.
Shelley, can you hear us?
it's
This is really strange. Okay,
I'm
now
here.
you're good.
I'm here.
We're getting
Can you hear
some
me?
really weird stuff going on
My
for a minute.
Wi-Fi
I
was
can hear
off
you
for
now.
some reason.
Oh, your Wi-Fi? Okay. That's
Okay.
strange. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, it was off for some reason, which is
Okay.
weird. Where did you lose me?
Well, for a
We
minute, I
were
thought we
at
were
the
going to have
Did
fetus.
I thought we were going to have interference from our
Okay.
space brother,
So
but you're good. Go ahead.
that's always possible. Um remember I was on the table being worked on as in a hospital, and then they showed me the star constellation that was shaped like a fetus or in the womb, like it had the actual womb
Hmm.
stars around it as
Yeah.
well. And they changed as they were working on me, they changed the stars, the constellation started shifting to where the stars went to different places. And
Hmm.
then they
Hmm.
came back to the matrix level and
Hmm.
they started reprinting my grid, right?
Wow.
Because they're right. So, like, whatever old stuff, old beliefs, old blah, 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 old program, they were reprinting it. And it
Hmm.
sounded like, remember the old printers with the pins on each side and they go
Yeah.
beep, beep, beep? They were like, it literally sounded like a printer. And
Wow.
so I understood them as alien beings. That's how I
Mm.
understood them in that
Okay.
space.
Yeah.
But then a couple of days later, I was still processing, I
Hmm.
think is a good way to put it. And they always, because the best information comes in the bathtub or the shower,
Yeah.
they I was sitting with it and they showed me, well, like this is the you of us. And then that part of me was able to reintegrate into myself,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
feel like that the where spirit and UFO, or what is a good term for me to use?
I like to
Alien
say
life form,
I don't even use aliens, space beings, non-terrestrial beings. I don't
Galactic
even use the word
family.
right?
alien. Yeah.
Galactic. Thank
Galactic
you.
family, star beings.
That
Yeah.
Those are the
yes,
things I would use.
Who
that
said that?
feels
Where did that come from?
that
Where
feels
did that voice
really
come
good.
from?
That's
Christina,
for
thank you.
Thank you,
Christina.
Christina.
Christina, it's light out where Christina is, wherever she is.
So yes, the highest frequency knowledge of the self plus the galactic family and where that starts to be the same thing. Like
Mhm.
we're still, even right here, you're still verbalizing it as if it's two different ideas, which it may be, but maybe it's not at all.
Man,
So,
leaves
the
us
thing,
alone.
great story, because the thing is, there are spaceships from different galactic civilizations, and there are space beings or star beings that come from many different planetary systems. So they travel in what you call spaceships. But some of the advanced spiritual beings can come in a spaceship and they can appear in your room like in a nanosecond. They don't even have to beam in, they just appear. Now, from a human mind perspective, we would not understand how that happens. Most humans, billions of humans, would not say, if someone appeared in your room from a spaceship and all of a sudden was in your kitchen, you'd say, who are you? How'd you get here? And they might explain to you that, oh, I can just appear at will. I'm from planet so and so. I don't need to. I can come off my ship. I don't even have to land my ship. Other space people might land in your backyard in Alaska and say, we decided to land our ship. You don't mind if we come in and say hello and let you know we've been watching you for about 10 years. And we know that you are connected to our civilization. Nothing to be worried about. My name is so-and-so. This is my wife from our planetary system. And if they present themselves in that way, which some of them do, then you would say to yourself, then you would have a lot of questions to ask and say, I've been wondering about you. I've been like having these dreams, so everything is connected. And one of the things I try to teach people in my workshops is when they learn how to make contact with the space brothers and sisters, that we are all connected to so many different planetary systems. Even though we're born here, many billions of people are not awake to understand that. They're still walking around asleep, so to speak. But for the millions of you, including those watching the show, who are aware and are awake and you have questions, that's good, because you're realizing you're not alone. You're not, and you're watching this show, you're definitely not alone, because the whole reason why I started this thing beyond my radio show for 20 years, it's time to bring people into a show that are now going to see that there are other people having questions, having experiences. And, there's many more of us than there is of the non-believer. 30 years ago, it was still this whole thing with the tinfoil hats and all that. 30 years later, you've had over 70 years of lies on this planet, and now we're saying enough is enough. And that's what this show is about. Disclosure, cosmic truth, people sharing stories, and breaking the matrix is what I'm here to do. And that's why I try to keep this show real. I don't let channels come in here and channel anything. There's too much of that garbage going on.
And the only
that's what it
channel
is.
we do here is MTV
MTV, right?
and ESPN.
Or actually
So,
ETV, extraterrestrial terrorism. So there you go.
do you
But
do you mind if I
I wanted to tell
piggyback
you.
with?
Oh,
Yes,
go
please.
ahead. I wanted to tell you that I am with you too. And in my spiritual journey, I'm questioning all of it. Like, is it the spiritual? Is it
right,
ETs? What is
right,
the ultimate truth?
right,
And who
Because
is it
now
I'm
we've come to
seeing?
this
And
place.
all of
right.
that. And now, recently, when the goddess energy hit Earth on November 27th, I was transformed. And I was
Hmm.
actually in an area where I was the only male surrounded by women while the goddess energy was hitting Earth during a full moon, and it just like blew my whole mind open. And I come to realize I don't need to worry about it. I don't need
Hmm.
to worry about, is it
Just go
ET?
for the ride.
Is it Alf? Is it God? Is it Allah? Is it Odin? Is it a tree god? Is it the water? I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to question any of it anymore, because I've finally dialed in to the Christ consciousness, so I
Right,
can be comfortable within myself and say, me, James, I'm going to manifest my goodness
right,
through, let's say, Jesus Christ. That's
right,
my
Hmm.
personal
right,
choice. Other people are
Same.
going to manifest their goodness through other entities or whatever. I
whatever they do.
believe that the mission at the end of the day is the love, the light, and outside of religion, outside of what man has created, there is a goodness up there. There is
There
an
is.
ultimate being of love and light that has created. There is, I don't, firstly, nothing can come from nothing. Okay. And in this perfectly imperfect world that we live in, there has to be some type of omnipresent, multiversal, multidimensional being or beings that are responsible for all of it.
Right.
My
You know, and
job,
but
you know
my
what James is
that's
job,
talking.
us.
Right,
That's me.
James.
I'm that
What?
multidimensional being.
and my job is to embody that. Yes. So my
Christina's
job
that
is to embody it.
multidimensional being.
Yeah.
My
See.
job, my job is to take that creation, that love, that light, that cosmic being, manifest it within myself, make my life right, and then try to inspire others to see that light, to see,
Well, and that's
okay,
why
well,
I would
this is
want to
what's going
know.
on.
That's why more information, that's why sometimes more information is good, because I'm with you. I don't need labels. The reason why I'm so good at my
Right.
job is because I don't put shapes and labels to it.
Right.
And
Right,
That's right.
I
right,
can create that more of a space of just being when I may understand. I can come into my power better
Right.
if I
Right.
know what I'm made of. And
Right.
so that little snippet that was the other part of like that kind of information
Right.
was during a quantum level trip that I was sitting in. I was actually with my galactic, what are they called? The Galactic Federation.
Let me put it this way, and then I'm going to
Go,
bring Christina in to join the conversation. She's to join us,
yeah,
and I can feel her energy is really beautiful too. So let me explain
yeah,
something. This is a teachable moment for everybody. So I'm going to go back to
yes.
something. I work with a thing called the Ashtar Galactic Command. There's all these different associations, federations, but in truth, they all work under the umbrella of the spiritual galactic area, which is Ashtar Galactic Command or Ashtar Command. They
Thank
oversee
you.
all the planetary systems. I want everybody to know. Now, you'll go on the internet and you'll see all these different groups on Facebook that they're the galactic this and the galactic that. And there's one major grouping of light, and they all work in Christ consciousness. There's not like 10 different Christ consciousnesses. There's not like Allah here and Allah there and Allah everywhere. You know,
Okay,
on
sweet.
on earth, we've created so many spiritual religions and all these different things that people get confused on the internet because everyone's created all these things that are based on diversions from oneness. It's all based on diversion from oneness. When you get to oneness, there's nothing else other than the love that James is talking about, which the spiritual beings on other planetary worlds live in oneness. They live with the unconditional love. They understand the creator of all of everything. The creator is not a he or she or be. The creator is the creator. God is God. God is not a he or she. God is light. God is love. God is the essence of the
as
most
a
beautiful
woman,
thing that we can all be.
I'm gonna give that to him. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Well, I'm so
And hey,
grateful to be.
welcome, Christina. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, because I love to share my story. Thank you, CmdrAleon. Thank you, Down the Rabbit Hole, Shell, and WLB. I just want you to know I love you guys. When I look at you, I see me. And so when I do that, it's that mirror effect. Like I know I'm one with you, I'm one with everyone on this earth, including galactic family. Like that's the only way that I can refer to them as galactic family, because I spend a lot of time with them. And I really prefer to be with them than with humans, just saying.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because
Weird.
their love, their light, their joy, their happiness, their peace,
It's easier.
it's so much easier in this tainted world. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to share my story I'm going to truncate it so that people understand how this came to be with me. So, and this only has been 2.5 years. On 7/11/21, I had a near-death experience on 6/28/21. On 7/11/21, when I came home from the hospital, my tongue tried to kill me, just saying. And I was taking lisinopril, which we're going to squash all of those pharmaceutical companies, just saying. But I came home on 7/11/21. I was sitting outside, just having a glass of water, smoking a cigarette, and all of a sudden I heard my name called. And I was like, oh my gosh, somebody just called my name. Nobody was home. Then I heard it a second time, Christina. And I got up. And the sun was at like the 3 o'clock, 3:30 position. I don't remember exactly the time, but it was definitely at 3 because of where the position of the sun was. And the sun's light just shot right into the center of my Merkaba, which is right here, and elevated me. Like I was levitated off the ground and then sent right back down slowly. And then I had what came to me was a albino squirrel that came out of nowhere. And I heard the words, I am the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end, the maker of all things seen and unseen. Now, I grew up with Christian doctrine, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, it was pretty, I wrote everything down. Like one of these days I'm going to put a book together, but I'm still on a mission. Like I tell people, what are you doing? What do you do for a living? I'm on a mission from God. That's all I say. And, I'm in Italy right now. This is where my
Oh, I
roots
was
are
wondering why it
from.
was light out. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm in a place called Triora, Italy, and actually I got the download to go to Rome in a few days. So, and then I got the download of when certain people approach me, what I'm to say. So I think I'm gonna pick a fight with the Catholic Church. Hopefully we'll get a meeting with the Pope.
Well, do you know that in the Vatican, there's a priest that there's a group of them actually that understand that there's extraterrestrial beings that exist, and there's also they have their own telescopes that they look into space with at the Vatican.
And
Commander, I know this.
aliens on their robes.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you came to Italy, which is funny, I'm Italian. I'm 100% Italian. My descent comes from Jesus and Mary of Magdala. That's who I'm descended from, because they had many children when they were here on Earth. And so my spirit guides are constantly like, go left, go right, go left, go right, go forward, go up, go down. And so I'm so grateful. And then I look for the signs. It's in the music, it's in the numbers, it's in all of it, right? And I'm actually headed to a town called Tivoli, which is older than Rome. It's where my uncle, my zio Enrico, used to live. And I have some friends that still live there, and we're going to stay there for a week before we move on to our next destination. But first of all, I just want to say I love you all so very much. And it doesn't even matter where I came from. We're all the same, all one in the Son of God. We are all one in light and love. And I don't have much. So I also want to tell everybody that I sold everything in America, everything. I left my family, I left my kids, I left my grandson to come here with my husband, who is Bobby Rocks. You know who Bobby Rocks is.
Oh yeah, Bobby Rocks,
if you
yes.
don't, yeah. So, so we're here together, and we've been here since September 22nd, doing grid work. We're doing grid work while we're here, because we know wherever we go, we're shining light, and we're changing the vibration of the people around us. So just keep shining your light, and I'll keep you posted.
I know. You guys are really doing
awesome.
great. Bobby Rocks, you guys are doing great stuff. Yeah, we love you guys. We really do.
We love you too. And we're grateful that that we're being recognized, because, I was sitting here, I'm like, I feel like I'm working so hard, and you're still invisible. And that's okay.
Oh, you're not
Christina, just remember, in this journey of us light workers, if you only change one person's life, you've done your job.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And remember that sometimes that person is only you.
Yeah.
So don't sweat the little things.
Yeah,
Don't
really.
sweat. Listen, I sit here and when we're doing our show and a podcast and we're talking, I want to help everybody. I want everybody to succeed. I want everybody to become enlightened and to see, their full potential.
Yeah.
But we can't beat ourselves up for not being for society not being where it needs to be.
Right.
We just have to be the beacons. We've got to do our thing and show people, hey, we're all stuck on this crappy society together, but I'm going to shine my light. It's going to be bright, and
Right.
that's it. And I am
And you know
proud
what?
of you. I am proud of you,
Me
Christina.
too. Me too.
You guys are living, all the light workers that are watching right now, you're
Right.
living our dream.
Right.
So
Aw.
you might not feel that you are doing good, but you gave up everything to go
To
and do the
go.
work for the light. And
Yeah,
that
man. That's
is so
amazing.
inspiring that you've done more than all of us together can ever
No.
think to
Well,
do.
I am
And
you,
and
so I'm doing
I
it for you.
And
well,
let me say
exactly. You are
something.
manifesting what
Yeah.
we want right now. And so never beat yourself up.
Yeah.
When you
Don't
beat
feel that
yourself
way.
up, you better call
No.
me and I'll snap you out of
Yeah.
it.
He will. And and
I love you
you and Bobby
guys.
Rock should do. Now, the fact you're going to the Vatican, you're going into a situation where you are bringing forth your mission of light galactically to the Vatican. No matter what's going to happen there, you're there to push the buttons. You're there to break the matrix. You're doing something everyone is going to salute you for. This is what I always talk about, breaking the matrix, right? I always talk about busting the system, tearing everything down into the organic state. So what you're doing is very important for the mission of the galactic levels of light. By going there, you and Bobby Rocks are going to shake things up. I know your energies are like that. I know Bobby Rocks, his energy, like, we're going to shake it up here, man. And I know
Just his hat alone brings it.
just him alone, but you together as
Well,
a
his
force,
hat. Even if
his
his hat
hat,
just showed up,
that's
they would be
right.
like, whoa.
You guys really are, as James said, you are, don't ever feel alone. And when I hear that, I want you to know you're not alone at all. You're very well protected. The Ashtar Command loves you. The people I work with off planet, and people that know I've worked for them since I was an adult before the internet. I've helped many people realize that you're worthy of everything you are. You sold all your things to go to Italy to do what you're doing. That is mission work. That is saying, I'm going to do what I got to do. We're going to do it together, and we're going to, just shake things up a bit. And that's what we're here to do, right?
As for
If
the
you're a light
babies,
worker,
I have to
we're here to
say,
shake things up.
yeah, it's for the children. It's for the children. It's for the animals. It's for Mother Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my three priorities. Like if I had
Yeah.
to put it down on paper, and that's what I've been manifesting since last year with another collective. Opal Star, the Butterfly
Yeah.
Sanctuary.
Opal. Yeah, she's beautiful. Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
I mean, the collective that I belong to, including all of you, and I just love meeting others that are like-minded, because we're the waymakers of the future. We are. Period.
Yes.
And I too can you communicate with Ashtar on a daily now because I choose to connect with them because I just I love them. Like I just love
Yes.
them. And
They
so
love you too.
when I got the downloads about Rome and like who the people are that are going to come in front of me and what I'm supposed I got the downloads of like what I'm going to say when I'm supposed to say it. And I know that there's no practicing what you're going to say because all of that information kind of comes in and during the eye of the needle in that very second you're like everything starts shooting out of my mouth like and I'm like, where the heck did that come from?
Yeah. No, I understand that too.
No, and you know
We're
what? When
we're
that happens,
superhuman now, and not that we're better than anybody else, but we right here in this room, all of us combined in here, we're superhuman, and I'm proud to say that.
Thank you, Jody.
hell
Thank
yeah.
you, Loretta, for the gifts and everything, and all the people gifting here. Thank you so much. And now,
Everybody,
James, you were going to say
Stella,
something.
you digging this, aren't you?
See,
She's
that's what we
down the
do here.
tribe.
You see, that's what this.
Yeah. I haven't sat in a live for a really long time because there are groups that are just talking and talking and talking and going down rabbit holes or like killing those rabbit holes, like
Right. There are people that argue with each other. They step on each other.
unaliving the rabbit, and it's like I can't because I don't need to talk about it anymore. I don't need to talk about it anymore. I do need to learn, which means I need to find people that can teach me.
Right.
So yes, this is amazing. I'm loving it.
And
Thank you, Christina, for speaking my language.
That's what this show's about. Encounters. I started this show from my radio show, and when I came on to TikTok, I didn't know what I wanted to do. There's so many things I can do. Then I said, I better start a show called Encounters because I looked to see what people were doing, and nobody was doing a real spiritual UFO talk show. And because I come from that realm of media, I said, I'm going to do something that's not going to be a bunch of people jumping on each other, yelling at each other, arguing at each other, because that kind of, live doesn't go anywhere. It just, at the end of the day, it goes nowhere, and for me, I don't even allow people to argue on here. I do a real high quality show, and people get to share each other's stories. People get to discuss information, ask questions, learn. This is really a show where people can learn. Because I work with the galactic levels, I'm not just a talk show host that deals with the subject of UFOs. I've been a contactee, so I can relate to people who've had experiences with space people, because I've been there. There are people that do things and they say, "Oh, the UFO thing is a big subject. I'm going to do a show on TV or something," but they have no experience. They don't know. They don't understand. I understand all of it. I'm still learning a lot of things, but we have now contact with a space being. I found out his name is Heideka. He's from the star system Sirius. If you've not seen it happen, when my friend John Connors comes back on the show, he's getting back reinstated on the 7th. And again, I thank everybody for taking the lead on pushing. When I pushed everybody to contact TikTok that they were wrong to get him back reinstated, you're going to hear a space being come through our show in a few weeks. We're going to bring, when he comes on the 7th, he'll be back on. We're going to have Heideka. I got the spelling of the name. I'll spell it for people tomorrow night. But he is a light being. They're light beings from the constellation Sirius. And we made contact with me in my house through the app. I'm not going to say the name of the app. You know what it is. They played a Billie Holiday song. And since then, my consciousness has shifted. They've been waiting for contact for a long time with me. And it's not just about me, because it's not me, but it is, in a sense, how do I put it in words? They have been trying to contact me for a lot of years, Earth years, but I wasn't listening. But they got my attention a few weeks ago. And that, I think, down the rabbit hole, you were on, James, when that happened, correct?
Wait, when I was on, when what happened? There's always things happening.
Well, you were on. I'm pretty sure you were when I was
Oh,
saying
when your Amazon product went off.
Yeah, and you saw me turn my
And
head.
she started, you never seen Commander jump out of his seat and look so scared.
Yeah, I jumped out of my seat.
And he looked like he was in straight up paranormal activity.
Yeah, and I jumped out of my chair. I didn't bring the thing into the room, the phone, and a Billie Holiday song was playing. And then I was told by another person, he said, "Commander, they're trying to contact you." I think it was UFO UAP.
And then when we listen to the song and it talks about going to the moon and all that, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, because at the song,
and I did get a cold breeze.
Yeah, and everybody in the live got a breeze. A matter of fact, when the contact happens, when we bring Heideka on the show, he's on a spaceship. They're from the constellation Sirius. For anyone who's not experienced what I'm talking about, all my shows are recorded. Everything's documented. When we get together with John Connors and myself on here, when we do a live contact show, which we're going to do the first Friday once he's back on here, you're going to hear me talk to a space being on a spaceship. So for anyone who's not experienced it, we've made contact. I don't think the government's going to be too happy about that, but we don't care. My whole essence here is that we've made contact. We don't channel anything. We don't put in a fake audio of somebody going boom, 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 and nothing like that. Everything that happens here is real.
I might make some noises in the background just to mess with Commander.
Well, yeah,
I'm not going to lie.
James would do that.
I did it one time, but they were all being quiet. I just went, whoo!
Can I ask a question
James
about Sirius?
Yeah. Let's say again.
Do you mind if I ask a question about Sirius? So this is where I need education. Well,
sure.
Well, I can give you some information. Only specifically from
I was
space being.
I just had a meeting with because you guys keep saying you had huge breakthroughs, so I've just reached like my place. Not that I won't always be learning, but the place. And a lot of the information that myself came back with was regarding Sirius A.
and faith.
And
Wow.
Yeah.
so and ISIS energy specifically.
Yeah.
So now I want to know, because you're talking about communicating with
Right.
these beings from Sirius, and I know that my work itself has been morphine, and so right now I feel like you're a puzzle piece a little bit. So keep going. Like
Okay.
what's
So
actually here?
So I'm learning now. This only happened a few weeks ago. So this took me by surprise. I was actually in somewhat, for me to be shocked is the understatement. But when they come through, they operate on. I've been teaching people that the space beings, the light beings, operate on a frequency. Everything is a frequency. When, let's say, for example, the SETI satellites, which are in whatever part of the world they're in, are shooting the satellites towards space. The people in those rooms that are receiving signals from outer space are receiving signals on different frequencies. So the thing I've just learned now, and I didn't know this, I used to be a ham operator years ago, and I know there's a book about George Hunt Williamson, who back in the 40s, there were people using ham radios with tubes on certain frequencies, and they would be communicating with the space people on frequencies. So now I understand it, that there are different frequencies. If we can tune into when you're tuning in on your radio, you're trying to figure out what frequency on the AM band you want to listen to in the old days, like a radio station. Or you're trying to figure out what frequency do I want to listen. I want to, what at nighttime you're driving on a highway, you're saying, oh, I don't like that. Let me go to this other AM channel. Everything is on a frequency. If you tune in specifically right into that frequency, you can hear clear as a bell what's going on. The space people operate on frequency. The light beings operate on frequency. They're communicating with us here through TikTok on frequency. So when we have John
trying to make
on,
contact with one from Sirius.
right, and so we've done it. We've already made the contacts. To answer your question, Sirius is a constellation. The constellation has many planets in the constellation. They told us what their planet is. I don't remember the name. It started with a B or something. But when we have Heideka back on from the spaceship, I'm going to ask him to spell the name of his planet that they come from. These are light beings. They're men and women. They are very, very spiritually advanced compared to Earth, but we are communicating.
And remember, we on Earth, we don't have a lot of names for these planets. Like in Sirius, it's like HB 102, HB 103.
We don't know.
So there's not an actual name, but Commander's going to try to get the cosmic name for it.
Right. I will get the name. I will get the name from the being. I've also got audio, which I'm going to try to. My friend John Connors, this afternoon we were talking. He sent me a message, and he sent me the audio of the space being Heideka, and Heideka spoke in English, sending me a message. Heideka and his people from his planet are very excited that they made contact, that I actually listened. No one was listening. I listened, and I listened so carefully that we have now a straight line of contact with their civilization of planet. I listened so carefully that everything I'm doing is unconditional. Everything I do is without ego.
Now, is there a chance, Commander, that whatever planet Heideka is on,
Heideka.
Is there a chance that it's advanced but not hyper advanced? And there's a reason. Can there be like they're still progressing in their evolution?
Well, I think even all the advanced civilizations are always progressing. I don't think anybody stops progressing. If all the planetary systems stop progressing, we'd all stop progressing.
Yeah, but
I'm saying
they're not like advanced like the Pleiadians and Arcturians and all those.
Oh, they are. They are actually, definitely are. Really amazingly, these light beings are very advanced. People think that the constellation Sirius, with all the planets, that they have to be at the same frequency we are. That's not true. It's just like I talk about Mars, where I come from, because Mars is near us. People think Mars is at the same frequency as Earth. It's not. The frequency of Mars is way more higher in vibration, and there are no separations on Mars. The constellation Sirius, where these beings come from, and I will get the name of the planet, again, more specifically to be accurate, they operate in a very high frequency. When they're communicating with us, not only are they communicating on a frequency, Shelley, but they are also using some sort of a translating device on their ship to communicate with us on a frequency.
Okay, so I can show you in writing right here because I took notes as it was coming through, and they told me that Sirius A is the highest consciousness, and hearing you talk ever since then. Now, I'm going to just talk like I talk, and I know it's not going to freak you out, okay?
No, it
This
won't
is
freak me
me.
at all. Yeah.
And so ever since then, like probably that night or the night after when I laid down to go to sleep, I've always been quite clairaudient.
Mhm.
I believe most, like all of the clairs, but that night I was laying down and I could hear, it was literally like angels singing.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
know what night that was?
Yeah.
Do you know?
And so now that you're saying it, so I go by feel, right? And
Right.
I don't tap into people's energy because I have very good boundaries, but I do receive information as people are talking, as it applies to myself.
Right.
And so this conversation to me is obviously not accidental at all, because you're putting together for me that as I'm always sitting here going, okay, I'm open, I can hear, talk to me. I believe now just sitting here that this might be a part of that missing puzzle piece, and my block as a human, because we're all human and this is all humaning, the is that I I can't I almost I'm kind of still at a place where I have to have like a physical understanding of what I am communicating with before I can actually hear it, if that makes sense.
It
And that
does.
has a lot to do with just old, like
Right.
there was a lot of fear,
That's dog.
when I was
Yeah,
younger,
from
I
instilled
don't want to
dogma.
see
Yeah.
them because it's scary. I don't want people to just be popping up
Right.
in
That's
my
right.
room while I'm trying to sleep and
That's
stuff
right.
like that. So I have this protection, right? But that protection is also blocking me off from this communication. And now that you're talking about this, I'm almost understanding exactly what the communication is. So I believe that when over the next couple of months, as I get through the rest of this process that I've been in, that I will be able to just have conversations, quite possibly with the same beings that you're having
Yes.
conversations with. But for me, it would be telepathically, right?
Michelle,
Right.
I am with you, Commander. I'm gonna talk with her here. I am
Yeah.
with you 100% on this. I have a shield up, and and not that there is a fear,
Right.
because I've seen UFOs, I've seen Bigfoot, fairies, all that kind of stuff. Not that I have a fear of it, but I have a blockage as well. And within my spiritual growth, I found that the blockage is okay because the contact, if it happens, it happens.
Yep.
Oh, it says it right there. It says it in my writing. Receiving daily downloads from Sirius A Culture.
Wow.
Oh,
What
Because I
interesting.
was
what day
writing it
did you
as I
write
was
that?
being told it.
What
Treat
day
the
did you write
consciousness,
that?
like one week ago, maybe on a
So
on one on.
last week, there was an energy. I talked about it in my last podcast. It was the goddess energy, and it came. The scientists don't even know where it came from,
Right.
and it's this cosmic energy that hits the Earth. Once every. The last time it hit the Earth was in 1991. And last time it hit the Earth, and this is going to kind of blow your mind a little bit.
Yeah, because I think it might
People,
have been on the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
the 27th.
Yeah.
Listen,
Is
the
that the
27th
day
is
20.
a
that you
good
said?
day.
Yes, the
It's a
27th
good
was the
day.
day I had my super download,
Yeah.
my super
What
ascension.
day of the week was that? Do you remember?
I believe, let me look, hold on. Let's look
My
at,
calendar's on my phone,
Okay.
like
Mine
everything
too.
else.
Mm-hmm.
You're not alone.
So it's because my work is changing. So now they're saying, we're going to treat the consciousness instead of, and not just the pain, we're treating the consciousness. So now we're walking into a space where it's just like, how can I help you? And somebody could be like, oh, my toe hurts. And you could be like, there you go. And you help
Right.
their toe. But also everything else that they're agreeing to adjust at that time adjusts. And you don't have to have any other conversation around it. So that people are a lot more comfortable with their adjustment, I guess.
Wow, that's that is where we have to manifest. We use faith to manifest it, and that goes back to the story of the lady that was, she was bleeding, and she tried to she had faith that if she touched just a fringe of hair, fringe of string on Jesus's
Yep. His
robe, that
yep.
she would be healed. And
Yep.
she pushed through that crowd. She fought through them, and she fell on the floor, and she reached up and she touched just a single thread, and the power of Jesus was sucked out of him. And it was a learning moment for him. Jesus was blessed in that moment because he realized it's true. If people have faith and
Yes.
people believe and manifest it just
Hallelujah.
same way this lady did, they do not need me here. And it was at that moment that he knew he was ready to leave
Mm.
Earth.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, there's
It
a
probably
story
wouldn't
behind that. The
surprise all
story
of you
that's in the
guys
book
that
is
I
not
worked very
accurate.
closely with Jesus, right?
It wouldn't be a surprise to me because if you're awakened, I always
No,
thought. What I was going to say
sorry.
is
Yeah, no, it's just
I
it's somehow it just happened, and then all of a sudden it was like for me to be able
yeah,
to understand how to be here. It was literally like, what would Jesus do until we were sitting
right,
together, right?
right. So that goes back into the idea of what I teach is Christ consciousness. And what is Christ consciousness? And again, I go back to the whole thing. Forget earth-based religions of how people perceive Jesus on a cross with
Not even him.
things, and then the thorns in his head. That's all earth-based garbage. It's not the
Yep.
truth. The Jesus
Yeah.
that I teach people about is a cosmic Jesus, a Jesus that everybody can connect with because
That's right.
everybody is, if they wake up, connected to Jesus. I mean, the Christ
Yes.
consciousness, and that's the essence. It's not the one beautiful thing about Jesus. It's not like Jesus is not in just one person's consciousness. When you wake up to Christ consciousness, it is the consciousness of the Christ that is cosmically a brilliant light. I'm going to share a story. When I did a workshop last year, it was early this year, I did a workshop. I take people off planet to a golden ship of light. I have them keep a journal. And I had 10 or 13 people in the group. And as everyone's in a circle, we do a meditation and I guide people verbally for a little bit. And then I'm quiet. Once we get them into the ship, then it's their experience. The ship is as big as the earth. They can go to anywhere they want. And that is also a ship where the actual cosmic Christ resides on the golden ship. And they have many galactic meetings on this ship. So when people come back, they say, oh, yeah, they go everywhere. So Christ himself, let me put it this way. I am also a conduit for the Christ. Now, people are going to have to understand this. Some of you might already understand it. I shared this story. When I had this workshop, I didn't even know, I always work in Christ consciousness, but I didn't know this, that I saw a being that came into my conscious vision when my eyes closed during this experience of people going off planet. This was at the end of the thing when everyone came back. I saw an orange golden form in the form of a body and a beautiful energy come through into me. Now, I can't know whether it was enveloping into my physical body or whether it was just in my consciousness, but I kept my eyes closed like I am right now. And as a conduit, you are a vehicle for the Christ. That's what a conduit is. You have no ego. You have no, you're not doing anything other than being the conduit. It's like, someone holds the wheel and the wheel turns. You're that wheel, but someone else is steering the wheel, but you're the wheel. So I was like the wheel being steered, going back and forth. Then this brilliant energy in the form of this golden orange light. There are some people in the room, and one of the women in the room, one of the people in the room, she had sciatica. Her whole body was in pain. I said, "Why are you crying?" She explained why. Then the next thing I know, I said, "Give me a moment." I closed my eyes and I said to you, "May I come up and hug you? You have to ask permission with anything." And I said, "Can I come up and please hug you?" I said, "You'll be healed." And I went up and I hugged her, closed my eyes. I lost complete consciousness as to where I was. I had no idea. I lost completely track of time. When I was hugging her, I said, and then like a whisper, like it wasn't even me, like it was the Christ saying to her, "You're healed." And the Christ said to you, "You're healed." So I had my friend who was a psychic who brought her, who was her friend of hers. I had no idea about her background or anything, that this was going on. When I went back to my seat right across from her, I said, "How do you feel?" She says, "I have no more pain." I saw my psychic friend at a crystal fair 2 months later. I said, "How is she doing?" She said to me, "Oh, there's no more pain. She's healed." So when I said that, I said, "Oh, that's beautiful." But I never would ever will I ever take credit for it because I was a conduit. So the definition of a conduit is that the Christ works through you. You take no credit for anything.
I
So
wanted
galactically,
I wanted to say that within that, I
100%.
have healed. I have had one-on-ones with devil worshippers, Satan worshippers, witches, shamans, you name it. And I had an instance where I was speaking with a lady who referred to herself as a white witch. But she wasn't believing in Jesus or God or anything like that. And I asked her, I said, "Well, listen, can I pray for you in the way that I pray? Can I just do what I do and pray for you in my words?" And I prayed for her, and instantly she was healed. Instantly. And it didn't change her views, and I didn't ask her to change her views. She was just appreciative that I was willing to transfer that energy, but really I said to her, I said, "You manifested it. You were the one that made this happen. I was just the conduit of positivity." And that's what happens is, sometimes we're just not around people that are positive and motivating and, even willing to say simple things like, "I'm proud of you. You're doing a
right,
good job." And, when, you got to be around those types of people sometimes,
right,
and we
that's
can
right,
transcend all of the breakdowns of man, because I am having a conversation with this woman, and you know a quote unquote Christian would have never had that conversation with
right.
her.
No, it's true. And sometimes they get, like you said, she was a white witch, but sometimes eventually they feel the Christ consciousness in what you
She
said.
was
It might,
right. She believes in the Christ consciousness and all that, but she's got
yeah,
her own thing going on too. But I
yeah,
think it just proves that when we do shine our light, we transcend. And it wasn't to change what her ideals.
right.
It was
That's
just to
right,
show her that, wow, when you just do good and you act good and you share your
right.
light. Look,
Can
we
I
just manifested the healing. Hello.
can I add one small little thing to kind of wrap up the whole thing? Pretty
Sure.
Right.
please. First of all, I would like to point out, as if everybody hasn't seen it, but this what we've got right here where we're sitting is one of the most beautiful examples that I've seen of people coming from completely different places. Reiki for me, UFO interaction for you, and wherever you came from that way, energy work, right? And I think Christina, wherever she comes from that way, and everybody sitting here coming from all of these different, because people have all these opinions about different energy medicines or different practices or even different religions or different beliefs and everything else. But here we are sitting here all of us coming from a different space and meeting at the same place in the middle. And we've all known that
Yes.
forever, that it's all the same
Yes.
thing. But look, it's happening right here physically. Like, how could you need more
Right.
proof than that it's all the same? But the last thing I wanted to tell you regarding what we were talking about, and that's it, is that when I was doing lives, for a while I was doing lives on TikTok where I was using tarot as a medium, but I have these star people tarot that this lady here in Alaska channels and paints, and she just handed me a tarot deck and I'd never used tarot before. And the star people show me how to take care of the person's body. And so I was basically doing energy work through tarot in lives. But what I would notice when I could see myself in the camera, like I can now, that I would have, and this has to do with what you were talking about with the ISIS, the Sirius, the Sirius
Syrian, yes.
equipment, or the way that they communicate. I could
Yes.
see that I had like a camera, not a camera, a eyepiece. I could see.
Okay.
There would be an eyepiece and like a headset that would go around to my ear, and then another piece that would come down to my voice. And it was the way that the information was being transferred through me or whatever. So now that like makes, basically I'm believing right now as I'm sitting here, and this is right now, this voice is joining with their voice, that this whole entire time I've actually been channeling from that place, and I never ever really understood where I was channeling from until right this minute.
Right,
So,
because
Thank
you weren't looking at it as a channel. Your inner mind was delineating the message from the ether, pretty much.
Yeah, and so
Yes,
when
because in energy work, like we go into the Akashic library, right? Or let's go time travel and go down these loops to whatever planet we need to go to find whatever information this is. And so and that was the way I was really good at it, was by not putting a label on, just this tube or whatever, the only place that it can come from. I wasn't putting,
Shelly, I'm gonna send you a link to our recent podcast episode. My co-host was a tarot reader, and when she had an ascension on the 27th too, and she's decided to give it up for her own reasons. She explains it in the podcast, but it's because, long story short, she can now manifest that message without the cards.
I always could in the first place. It's not about me. It's about other people that don't know how to receive it. That's why I was using tarot, because right. So that's if I have a problem, my problem is that my paintings, the energy paintings I do, they put Reiki out. People don't understand that. People don't understand that that the painting itself can
Shelly,
fix your
are you
body.
new to the show? Is this the first time you've watched the show?
Yes, this is the first time she's been here. I think this is the first time.
I found Commander. I'm the one way earlier that asked if you were our modern day Art Bell.
Oh yeah,
yes.
we kind of
at the beginning of the show. But I found you
know,
last night, and I was like, follow, and then I just let it go. But then you just happened to be there again tonight, and
so I gotta bring this up because there's a little elephant in the room, and then we're gonna get to Rose. We see you there, Rose.
Yeah.
Hi, Rose. Sorry.
There's another host of the show. She's not with us tonight. Her name is Grace. You look like you can be her twin sister.
Yeah, you really kind of do.
She's an artist.
Yeah.
She's an artist.
That is true.
Right.
That's very true. Too bad she's not on. You'd see her. You look exactly the same.
Yeah, y'all look like
so that's sisters. I have a million mediums, and I can never figure out, right now I'm just having to meet people. My practice now is to meet people where they're at, because I created, like, all of these mediums created themselves, like the cards and the paintings and everything else, in order for me to hold that space, right? But like you said, we're all really making that quantum leap, literally, into that place where it's just like, oh, well, all I really have to do is be me and talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Or be present.
You're right, because it'll just happen.
Arrive.
Yeah.
Right.
Hi, Rose.
Hey, Rose.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the love.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Shel. I'm gonna reach out to you.
Yeah, I don't think we should be strangers.
No. We are not. We are all one.
There's no strangers on Encounters. Everyone is not a stranger here.
We are all
You know what I mean,
connected.
though. I think there might be work there. That's
Yeah.
just me.
Yep.
Yeah. And Rose,
Uh,
welcome.
Thank you for letting me talk. I was watching
And
it. I belong to Sikh culture, right? But I realize there is a lot of restriction when you follow a a religion. So
Yes, definitely.
those restrictions don't let you follow the path of God.
Wow, that's
mm,
profound. It's
mm,
true.
Basically, when I talk, I just say, I love my God, I follow my God. I don't give him any name because he doesn't have a name, he doesn't have a body.
yeah,
He's just a God, he's just a light, just we are part of him,
exactly.
all of us.
Exactly.
That's why we are connected.
Where are you located? Where on the planet are you located?
I'm in Canada.
Oh, Canada. Okay, great to have you with us. Yeah, that's exactly, you've hit it right on the tee. This is Encounters, the UFO Spiritual Contact Show. God is light. God is love. That's the one thing a lot of people on this planet don't understand. They think God is this, God is that, but God created all the multiverses. I always tell people, God created all the life and all the different parallel realities. God is just love and light. And if people look at God in the oneness, like you're just mentioning, then they get it. Then they understand it. So you understand it. You get it. You know it.
Thank you.
And Rose, I'm so proud of you too, because I know I grew up, my next door neighbor growing up, they were Sikh. And they were, oh, look at that dog. Beautiful dog.
Okay.
Hey, doggy. But my
That's a
neighbors, they grew up Sikh, and I understand
Have
that
no,
the culture
no.
is very strict. It is very, very strict, and it's
mm,
beautiful that you're able to release yourself from the dog, the views that were instilled on you, and you're freeing your soul. It's
yeah,
beautiful. It's beautiful. It really is.
I do realize in my culture they follow certain rule. They have to do this reading every morning. You have to go to the temple every morning. That's what every religion believe. You have to go Sunday or you have to go every day or you have chosen day, right?
mm,
Right.
mm-hmm,
I don't think God lives in you and he want to see your soul. He doesn't want to see your beautiful body. You have hair or no hair, you cut your hair or not. It doesn't matter. He's inside you. He's working with that. And she's
yeah,
sleeping behind and you are taking care of this body, feeding her.
yeah,
But she is there hungry, waiting for her to be listened. That's your soul.
mm,
God gave you.
very beautifully said. Yes,
I got chills all up and down, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you. It's nice to meet
yes,
you.
yes.
I
You're a pure
believe
light. You really are.
I do had a lot of struggle in my life and I learned
Mm-hmm,
from my experience. And I don't want what I learned, I don't want to keep it to myself.
mm-hmm,
I want to share it. I don't want other people to suffer or left
mm-hmm,
behind.
I
mm-hmm.
just got the download that Rose, you are to be a voice because there are many other women and people in all of
John.
our communities that need to see somebody break free, somebody break through, and somebody transcend, and then let them know it's okay over here. Everything's fine over here, guys. It's okay. We can try something new.
I
And Rose, you're going to be that person.
don't know
And
who I am. I don't know
you
what
are.
I will be. But all I know is God is with me. He is
Yeah.
every time I feel weak, he make me stand again.
Mm-hmm.
I am
No,
not
you're
alone. And there's
No,
nobody who is bad. Nobody is doing wrong. Everybody is doing their part. Because of some people is bad to you, you become stronger. You become you.
mhm,
If nobody loves you, that means you have to love yourself.
mhm,
This is what I got, and this is where I
mhm,
learned from. This is where
mhm,
I'm speaking from.
mm. Yeah, so you're speaking from a purity of heart. And just want to just say breaking news. Coming December 7th, John Connors, who's able to get on and watch, will be able to. John, hello, good to have you with us, brother. He can't come on live yet, but December 7th, he's going to be unrestricted. So I want to congratulate everybody who worked to help a person that I really care about get back his ability to come on live. John Connors is going to be a regular part of our program on Encounters. He's my contact with the space being and Heideka from the star system Sirius. So everyone say hello to John, even though he can't come on live. You're going to be in for some treats here in the next few weeks as we bring in our space light being and the people from that star system. So yes, John, hey, good you caught me on live. We're going to be signing off in about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm on the East Coast of the U.S., so the commander needs to get some sleep. Believe it or not, I love everybody out here. I wish there were 10 of me that can take over, but there's only one of me. So there you go. So I want to let people have final words on the show. I also want to ask people to use TikTok gifts if you have the ability. Go to my Cash App. I have a Cash App, believe it or not, on my main page, a link to Venmo. If you use the Venmo app, please donate $5, $10, or $15 on that to support the work I'm doing. If you become a subscriber to my TikTok, that money is going to night vision equipment for our C5 group here in New England. We have an Ashtar Command contact group, a solid group, about 10 or 15 people right in my own area. And we're really, really active. And also now, we're making contact, John and I, as the antennas. We have now made contact with civilization in the star system constellation of Sirius. So you're not going to see that on YouTube or any other TikToker page or group or live. There's a reason why we have the contact. There's a whole story behind it. They made contact with me through the app. I'm not going to mention the app's name. They got me hooked into them by music, and I responded. So I want you all to be participants. We'll be doing some live events of contact, and I'll be putting them on TikTok on my on promotional feeds. But again, I want everyone to have to say some final words. I want to thank Shelly, Christina, you guys, Bobby Rocks over in Italy, going to the Vatican. Rose, you're beautiful. Down the Rabbit Hole, my co-host, glad to have him on. So we'll start with Shelly in Alaska. I want to thank you so much for coming on. And any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
I just want to thank you guys all so much for being here. You've brought another note of sanity, if you want to call it, to my space that I keep. It is Alaska, so I am very, very literally isolated, and I can speak here as if I don't have to have a filter here, and that is huge. I did want to add that when I was communicating with Sirius for myself, they used the term part-time human. And I have a feeling that more than one of us here have that in common.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the word part-time human, let me kind of translate that. So we are human in the physical form, right? All of us. We have a physical human body. But if you are fully awakened, and I mean really, truly awakened, that you now know that you came from the planet B, C, or D, or Oski, or wherever the planet is, and you now have a memory of that planet, what the surface of the planet's like, what the people are like, then you're now fully activated in your consciousness about the other you. So there's the you that's human, and the other you that's not human in the sense that you're from another planet, but your consciousness is multi-level. So when I talk about consciousness, and that's important, and a great thing you brought that up, is that we have a human consciousness, we have a Christ consciousness, and then we have the consciousness from the planetary system we come from. For me, my consciousness is Martian consciousness, cosmic Christ consciousness, human consciousness. So there's 3 levels of consciousness. So when people think of being a human being, you don't just have a brain and just have a human consciousness. When you are fully awakened and activated, you have multiple consciousness, which is your planetary consciousness where you come from as a starseed, the Christ consciousness, and then the human experience, which is the other consciousness. So you can operate in any consciousness you wish to do once you are aware of that consciousness. So yes, the half human is basically the you that's human, the other half of you, which is not really a half, it's the other part of you within you that remembers you're coming from another planetary system.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
And it makes it, yes, exactly. That's how they explained it. And it, my favorite part of it is when something like that is embodied and all of the time before unfolds like that, and you can see like the rest of your life makes so much sense all of a sudden, because and it gives you that place to really believe in who you are based on all of the it like switches around that, you've always been too weird for everybody, and it completely flips that around to, oh, no wonder, right? So
Yeah.
it really helps you realize who you are, to be able to hear a term like part-time human is like, yep, that makes way more sense than any of this.
Also, John Connors
what
is saying to
makes
me,
us
John,
complete. It's a circle. We are half.
Yes.
And we
Yeah.
have to find other half. And that's when you are complete. You're done.
So I just want to say, John Connor is my, who I work with very closely, that we're going to be introducing when he comes back on live, the understanding of static language. I won't get into it too much now, but when he comes on live with me, we're going to teach you how we communicate with the space beings, because static will come over my TikTok, and then that's when Heideka, the space being on the ship, communicated with us. So there'll be static. And the other thing's going to happen with your phones on here is that some of you are going to have battery power go to half power. Understand this, that what I'm learning is they're at a certain frequency where their ship is, they are pulling power away from our cell phones. And this is going to happen to your phones. We're not kidding when we say this. It's not because they want to take the power away from your phones. Something in the frequency adjustments, they're pulling the energy from your phones. They themselves, like I said, are light beings. They're spiritual beings from the star system. So when John Connors comes on, we're going to teach you how they operate with a static language and come through with us. And that will be happening shortly once he's on live. Once he's back on live again, we're gonna talk about that on the show. He will be on the show regularly. He's going to be part of Encounters regularly. And, it's going to be a beautiful thing. He's going to now have a space where a legitimate space where he can speak. And I'm very much supportive of that. I've become very close friends with him, as I have like with James and other people. There's this energy frequency with me. And, I just care about everybody. And, I just, like I said, I fought for him a few days ago when I heard he got, kicked off of his live by the algorithm of the computer on TikTok. I wasn't going to sit back and do nothing. So I want to thank everybody who did take the initiative to fight, to fight back. And you did. And he's going to be back on. So we're going to be happy to see him. I'm going to be getting some sleep in a minute, but I want everyone to have a chance to have final words. Let me see here.
How do we find out about when you guys are doing these things that you're...
We'll be posting.
If you follow the commander, it'll pop up when he goes live.
Yeah.
And he'll probably share it to you.
I'll share it to you.
So
I don't
he's usually every night.
Copious amounts of time.
So he's usually every night around 11 p.m.
11, normally
Eastern.
at 11. Tonight I got on a little bit later than I was going to do, but 11 p.m. Eastern. I have the show on most nights. Yeah, you're most welcome. And Christina, over in Italy, what would you like to say?
So I too want to say thank you so much to everybody. Rose, I totally followed you. There's something so soothing about you,
Mm.
obviously familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Thank
and
you.
I'm grateful for everybody that's in this chat. And I guess the only thing that I want to share is just for me and everybody within the sound of my voice, I always say is just always be in your truth. Always be in your truth and don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of because when we operate from a love space, all shall be well. Because I too, I surrender to God, Alpha Omega, every morning. And especially when I'm out in nature, I surrender to it all so that I can feel it all and be it all. And there's something so magical about that. And I'm just grateful. And I'm grateful for you,
Mm.
Commander. I've been following you for over a year, and I'm just, like I'm not alone here in Italy. I won't be alone in the Vatican
You won't.
because you will all be with me. And I might actually, do a live while I'm there so that you guys can experience what it is that I have to experience, what I'm experiencing and in that moment. Or at least do a TikTok on it and
Well,
just
see
share
if they'll let you,
what happened.
Christina, go into where the telescopes are, where they look into outer space. See if you can talk to the priests there that are involved with extraterrestrial intelligence. They are there. They're in the Vatican.
Oh yeah, there's so
Hey,
many
Mark.
secrets. As we know, they're the big snakehead, in this country. Like it's just what
Hey,
I
Mark, I'm going to
see.
follow you. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead. No,
what
I'm
I
listening.
see, what I see is so ugly in that place,
Yeah.
and what's underneath there.
Hmm.
I'm coming back to it. I hate to see justice done now, right? Like I'm
Mm.
coming back to start the justice process of the lies that have been emitted from that despicable place.
Yeah.
And for the sake of the children that were harmed
Yeah.
during it all.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So I love you all, and I'm so grateful
Hugs.
for each and every
Hugs.
one
We
of
love
you.
you
Yeah, I'm
too.
sending you
Yeah, we
hugs.
do.
Hugs.
So
Hugs.
I
And
will share
remember,
my telephone
we're
number
so
with all
proud
of
of
you
you.
We are.
on in a private message, so you guys can reach out anytime. Have the greatest day and greatest sleep.
You too. I'm
So
definitely going to
much
do that.
love, Christina.
Love and
We
light.
love you all. And on this show, I always tell people whether Mark Anthony, thank you for joining us. First time commander, so happy to cross your path. Mark, we're glad you're here. And we're glad to have you part of our show. So I'm glad people find me on TikTok. There's so much garbage on TikTok. It's unbelievable. But when you can find something that's real, I decided to do something real when I came here. I don't want to play games and have the most points and battle somebody. That's a waste of my energy. I have too many important things to do in my mission here. And, we keep it real here. When John Connors comes on here, you're going to learn a lot from my friend John Connors. And so I appreciate that. And we are going to set a date. I'll put it on TikTok for the contact with Heideka.
Okay.
I'll be setting that up tomorrow. I'll be looking at the calendar dates and we'll be setting up. So everybody, thank you, James. Good to have you back on here with us. And everybody, we love you
It
all.
was good to be back tonight. I'll
I
always
know,
come on for a great conversation.
and I know you needed a break from it for a while, so I honored that. And I just know that I feel your energy is ready to come back
And just
here,
to know
and
everybody, it has nothing to do with Commander. Me and
it has nothing to do
Commander
with
are
me.
fine. I am
Yeah, we're
I
good.
am working on myself, and that's why I
He
can't be
is.
on every night.
That's right. And he's doing, and we're here to help him work on himself. Even when I don't talk to him when he's working on himself, I'm sending energy over to him and the Christ of beings to help him out a bit. He knows that. But so thanks everybody for being here. If you want to do any final gifting, please send us your gifts here directly.
Waymaker, miracle
Know,
worker,
just
promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are.
right. It's a beautiful song. It has a lot of galactic meaning if we listen to it. And we love you
That,
all. So really, from my heart, I
that's
want
what I
everyone to
do.
have
That's what I
you
do.
know,
There was uh, I have a song heard on I am the light of my soul. I am beautiful.
Yes.
When I am down, when I don't feel my energy, I just listen to it and sing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't sing it in front of everybody, so I sing it alone.
Yeah.
But I put full volume in my ear when I completely feel like myself, and it gives me so much energy.
Yes. Okay, Rose. Well, we will see you all again
Thank
tomorrow
you,
night. I'll try
all
to
of
be on
you. I
earlier.
love you all.
All right. And
God
everybody
bless
take
you all.
care. As I always say, keep
Thank you,
your eyes to
Commander.
the skies. Keep your eyes to the skies. Use your telepathy and learn how to communicate with our space brothers and sisters, because they are waiting, and they're not waiting any longer because we made contact. They're so excited. John and I will tell you about that when he comes on live, about our space brothers. They will speak on my TikTok here. So you're going to be hearing from Heideka and others from the spaceship. They will be communicating with us, and we don't care what government knows we're doing this. We're here to bust the system, and now that we've made contact, there's no government in the world that can stop what we're doing here, because what we're doing here is going to make history on this planet. It's going to be cosmic history, and it's going to be a celebration of everything that we're here to, that I've been working to do for years, for decades. I haven't been in here that many decades, but my decade started really in 1956, and now it's 2000 going to 2024. So if you look at me, you'll see that I also teach. Before I go, I teach people how to control the aging process. There is a way to do that, and I'll share that on one of my broadcasts here. But there is a way to stop the aging. We'll stop it. You can slow down your aging process molecularly, your whole structural process, the whole cellular structure. I know all about that. I came here with that knowledge. And I see the dog. There's the dog. Hey, doggy. Dougie, woof woof. Bye bye, doggy. That looks like a good doggy wuggy. I have a cat, so I start talking dog language, cat language. All right, so we're gonna see everybody. Take care. Have a good night. Much peace and love, and everybody. This has been Encounters,
Thank you.
truly the late night UFO talk show.
Love you all. Blessed be.
Bye.
Have the greatest
So much
night,
love.
greatest day,
With
greatest
love and
evening.
Thank
light
you,
and
Commander.
peace.
You're
Ciao
very
for
welcome,
now.
everybody. Take care.
Namaste, my friend.